Noon my time, not necessarily noon your time. Whatever noon my time is to you, which is 13 minutes ago, that's when for you. You can't game it because you have to pay them out? Oh, right. That sucks. Sag. So, we're not gonna... There's a lot in here. It actually only shows 12 comments. That's comments, not pages. There's a lot, right? There's like a whole lot. Like a lot. So, we're not gonna go through every single line because we'll be here, like, until the patch actually arrives. We're still going, by the way. But we're gonna go through the stuff that's like every line. No, we're not gonna be able to do every line. It's not realistic. But we'll hit up everything we can that makes sense. That wouldn't be a bad thing. Yeah. It would be for my ability to speak on the actual launch day. That wouldn't be very good. Okay, so we've got this is the table of, oh my god. This is just a table of contents. This is the, oh my god. That's the table of contents. And it's covered up. What happens if we open all these? I made a mistake, didn't I? Oh my god. This is the table of contents. Words are hard. Oh my god. We're still going? My fingers gonna be tired from scrolling? They are. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's table of contents. Okay. Alright, now, here's the thing. I'm going to read all this stuff. And then, right before the launch, 11 a.m. my time, on Wednesday, there's going to be a quiz. You cannot log in unless you pass the quiz. And it's 100%. You have to get 100% in order to actually pass and log in. Everything in here could be on the test and probably is. So basically memorize it, all right? Okay, good. Now we got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and see what we got. Yeah, LE exam. Okay, so we all know about the Falconer, right? Hopefully you know. Hopefully you went to Max Roll and checked that out. You're bad at quizzes? That's really unfortunate for you. You might want to get good at quizzes in the next 2 days. You're getting sleepy? I'm not going over every line. No, I'm not actually going to cover every line, but you need to know every line. That's a requirement. Do you even play LE? I have a feeling I'm going to be getting a drink here sooner than later. Tiny, what's up, dude? Thanks for the sub, man. Almost at 3 years. Assuming you'll be able to log in? Well, if you don't pass the test or quiz, you definitely can't log in. So that's, that's the thing. All right, so we got Falconer. Falconry, the mastery skill. We've got explosive trap. We got net. We got arrow assault. We got dive bomb. Everybody knows about this. We also have the Warlock. Everybody knows about this too. By the way, this is not pronounced how I thought it was. How do you think this is pronounced, this one here? Chthonic, right? Like, it looks like Chthonic? Yeah.
Chthonic.
That's how you pronounce it.
Chthonic.
Yep.
Chthonic.
There's no CH.
Chthonic. Chthonic.
Yep. We're all been wrong. So that's chthonic fissure, not chthonic fissure. We'll probably all call it chthonic fissure anyway, but that's technically chthonic fissure, which means this is Aos bolts. Okay, so make sure you know that. This is chthonic fissure, and this is Aos bolts. Everyone got that? That's going to be on the quiz, so make sure you know. Chthonic fissure, Aos bolts. Okay. Not ass bolts. Close, but not ass bolts. Aos bolts. Alright, so we all know these. We know Ghost Flame, Soul Feast, Profane Veil. Not ass bolts. If you put ass bolts, you only get half credit. And remember, you need 100%, so you fail. It needs to be Aos bolts on the quiz. Okay? 22,000 people watching Ellie. Jesus Christ. That's crazy. Okay, we all know about item factions. If you don't know about item factions, there's going to be plenty of resources on Maxwell for that too. It's Merchant's Guild, Circle of Fortune. Circle of Fortune is don't trade. Merchant's Guild is do trade. That's basically it. Olmazor, thank you for the sub. Much appreciated, man. Imagine your character every cast be like ass balls. I would play that a lot more. Okay. We all know about that. We know about Circle of Fortune. We know about lenses. We know about prophecies. These are going to be ways for you to target farm stuff in the Circle of Fortune. It's going to be awesome. And then Merchant's Guild's got the Bazaar, where you can trade items, buy and sell things. Also going to be awesome. Half-ass credits. Million copies sold. By that many views with not so much money. What? Alright, new features. We've already seen the Gathering Storm as well. This is a new Primalist skill. Looks really, really cool. They removed Ice Thorns completely and replaced it with Gathering Storm. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. They also completely updated Tempest Strike. By the way, if you want to see some gameplay footage on what Tempest Strike looks like, if you're into that sort of thing, I just released this video, which, if I can find it, has some Tempest Strike footage from CT. You can go and watch it. Check it out. There's also the new Healing Hands in there as well, and some Falconer stuff. So there you go. Tornado Druid. Your Chthonic Fissures gave you ass bolts. Oh, that's the problem. You don't want that. 20 minutes and 1 second, I violated it. It's not 20 minutes and 1 second of CT footage, so no, I didn't. Did not. Yesterday's video? That's today's video. That came out literally 20 minutes ago. All right, what else we got in here? So we got Tempest Strike. Tempest Strike looks really good. It's a lot of fun. So is Healing Hands. I've got a Vengeance Healing Hands set up. I got to play a little bit. Really like it a lot. I like both of these to the extent to where one of these might be my second play, like my second character on the cycle. I'm not sure yet, but I'm leaning towards it being one of these two. Probably leaning more towards Healing Hands, but every time I think that, then I think about how much fun Tempest Strike is, and I'm not so sure. Anyway, resonances, we just heard about that in the video. This is a way that you can trade stuff to your friends if you're not in the trade stuff when you play with them, but you're not playing with them at the time that something drops. Ass bolts procs anal fissures. I don't think that's right. And I don't think that's Greek either. Cycles. Let's actually talk about this. Let's go over this part, because this is probably some new information in here. Your fissure is more chthonic. It has tail whips. Nice, nice. What's up, Techno? We recommend players to create cycle characters. Cycles are last epoch's seasons, which will start with each major game update, such as 1.0 or 1.1. With the start of each cycle, all players will have the option to create new characters in an environment where nobody has prior progression, making it a fresh start for everyone. By the way, this is exactly what they should have released like a week or two ago, but I'm glad it's in here. Only cycle characters are able to compete in the current cycle's leaderboards, which is the arena. Once a cycle ends, leaderboard placements are locked in and stored, making it impossible to submit new placements for that cycle. Those placements will be viewable from the leaderboard page, opened by pressing L by default. All characters and items will transfer over to Legacy, where also all pre-1.0 characters and items are. So any characters you currently have are going to be in that Legacy state. Legacy characters cannot submit new placements to leaderboards or trade or party with cycle characters. So if you want to play with someone that is cycle, you have to be cycle as well. And you can trade in Legacy, but only with other Legacy players. Everybody got that? Full offline mode. What? Added the ability to launch Last Epoch in a fully offline mode. Currently, if you are not familiar with it, there is an offline mode, but you must log in first. There's no way to be fully offline. You have to be online, log in, and then you play offline. Now you can play fully offline, not log in. Can be accessed to the Steam UI by following these instructions. Right-clicking on the game in your library, select properties in general, will be a section tilted or titled launch options, and then you select Last Epoch in full offline mode. There you go. For anyone who wants to truly play full offline mode, now you can. That means you won't have access to chat, you won't have access to MTXs or leaderboards, but you'll be able to play the whole game. Yeah, if the servers melt, yeah, for sure. That's definitely going to be good for that. All right, visual upgrades. We saw a little bit of this stuff in the video, and there's a lot of it also in the video that I posted. That 20 minutes of footage there's a lot of visual stuff in there. I'm playing it, I believe, at the highest settings, so you can check it out and see what it looks like at that setting. But we've got the lighting system, which just made a huge difference. It really did. Overhauled shadows in many scenes. Lights will follow the player as they progress through the scene and add direction. This is like a D2 type thing, right? Like they have the light that followed you. Has fixed performance costs, which means it won't scale additional enemies or objects on the screen. That's nice. And you can adjust them with quality settings. Improved lighting and post-processing across the game, so scenes look less washed out, have higher contrast, and a more dramatic look overall. Increased quality of volumetric settings and high and ultra settings. Should have increased resolution for volumetric lights. New ambient occlusion tech will have an overall more refined and better appearance at higher settings. Lots of stuff. They did lots of stuff here in the lighting system. Like, they did a ton. It's not RTX. No, it's not RTX. It still looks really good. Full offline's a huge W. That you feel EHG should have advertised like at all. Yeah, I know, right, Andrew? I agree. You keep racing games at lowest settings anyway. 2.5D cinematics. Added new intro cinematic to the game that introduces the player to the Divine Era in Chapter 1. This replaces the old class-specific intros. So the old class-specific intros are gone. There's new cinematics to take their place. So if you're someone who likes the story and likes to watch cinematics, you've got some new ones to check out. Updated all character classes with model improvements, better proportions, new rigs, and new animations. A lot of people have complained about the animations and the combat feel. Hopefully this helps with that. Did we watch the patch preview? We did. We've continued to improve the performance of our visuals by optimizing textures, draw calls, model cleanups, shaders, and lighting. I can tell you that it does feel better. It's still not a perfect game optimization-wise, but it's definitely better, especially these last few days on non-CT. I was really noticing the difference. I was chugging along in a few spots, which I don't do on the CT build. So, and I've heard the same thing from others. So hopefully you'll all also experience the better performance that's going to be coming with 1.0. Terrain shader improvements to make environments more lifelike and visually cleaner. Will you walk with your axe upside down? Hopefully. I consider that a feature. Yeah, I consider that a feature. Ray tracing. I know they want to do ray tracing, but they can't until they update the engine that they're on, and they're in the process of doing that, but it may take a while. Ray tracing they do want to have eventually. They feel more impactful. I'm not the best person to answer that because I never really felt that the combat wasn't especially impactful like some other people do. I just wasn't sensitive to it. I think the answer is probably yes, but again, I'm not maybe the best person to answer that. Okay, system changes. Endgame rebalance. You will find more details in the sections for each endgame system, but we wanted to give you a quick overview of our changes. We have made enemy power come less from endgame modifiers and more from the inherent strength of high-level enemies and the base effect of corruption. We've talked about this quite a bit, primarily to achieve a more predictable experience in high corruption Monolith and make it harder to cheese it, basically. Specific corruption values should feel like they mean something in terms of difficulty instead of difficulty varying so wildly based on your current mods. To achieve this, enemies have been buffed globally at high levels, corruption scaling has been increased, Monolith mods have shorter duration and no longer scale with corruption, and high-level dungeon and arena mods have been reduced in power. So they don't scale at all with corruption now, the mods, and they don't last as long. Overall, we've increased enemy health and damage globally above level 60 by around 5% at level 80 and 25% at level 100. People have been talking about the game is more likely to kill you. It's more likely to kill you. Yeah, it definitely is. They changed the boss damage reduction. They are going to. That won't be 1.0, though. They had to push that back. It just wasn't something they could feasibly do for the 1.0 launch. Arena. Disable bonus XP for Arena for characters below level 50. I didn't know this was a thing that people were doing for leveling, but maybe they were. Certain arena mods, especially those specific to tier 3 and 4, have been adjusted to lessen the impact of the global enemy buffs. However, these changes are smaller than the ones to dungeon mods, so tier 3 and tier 4 arena will now be noticeably harder than before. Interesting. Because we have buffed enemies globally overall, we expect that it will be more difficult at a baseline. We have also changed the scaling for enemies in Endless Arena past Wave 100 to be much faster. For example, Wave 140 is equivalent to the old Wave 200, and wave 320 is equivalent to the old wave 500. Consequently, achieving high tiers of Endless Arena is now much harder. Hopefully, they also fix all the bugged, broken builds that are the reason why people are pushing so far. If they don't, it's still going to be absurd, but this will help. Yeah, maybe no more 1k waves. We'll see, because people are pushing like 3k waves right now. So those busted builds have to be fixed for this to matter enough. Campaign. This is going to be a fun one for people too. Many campaign scenes have been tuned to look and perform better. New visual elements have been added to the end of time. Encounters in chapters 4, 5, and 6 have been overhauled. Nearly all 4, 5, and 6 scenes contain semi-randomized or fully randomized enemy placement. That's interesting. Harder, faster is good. Many enemies with old models have been removed. No more jewel spiders or old chimeras. Many enemies with new models have been added, such as zombie hounds, undead hydras, which are, wait till you see those guys, and bone mimics. Other enemies have been shifted around and rebalanced. No more endless Wraith Dunes? Yeah. The Wraith Dunes no longer has infinitely spawning wraiths. That was not a fun map, but that's true. Various bugs with Imperial era enemies have been fixed. All Scorpion enemies except for the Gem Scorpion boss and Voidstone Scorpion now use the new Scorpion model. Larger Imperial enemies, such as Immortal Eyes and Desecrated Fleshes, are now always rare. Before they would be white and insanely tanky. That is not the case anymore. Quest encounters in 4 and 5 that previously involved a rare enemy now always feature a unique mini-boss. Example, the Imperial Wellrun quest has an Inquisitor mini-boss, and the Sapphire Quarter quest encounters have Soul Warden and Sandlich mini-bosses. Chapter 4 also has additional mini-bosses in various zones. Town waypoints now automatically unlock upon entering the zone. That's really nice, especially Chapter 7, where the portal was like off to the side, and I almost always forgot to unlock it. Time Rift portals now say what era it is taking you to in a transition notification. Pretty good stuff there, huh? Make sure you click to new instances. What do you mean? What do you mean? Dungeons. Enemies in Tier 1 dungeons deal 35% less damage, and they have 25% less health. There you go. The dungeon skip, even easier now to do to get to Chapter 9 if you want to do that. Or just skip dungeons on your second, third character, or use dungeons to skip certain parts of the campaign on your second, third character. Remove the entrance from all dungeons after the player has entered. You can no longer turn around and go back the way you entered. That's interesting. There must have been some sort of exploit or something. Lightless Arbor changes. The Mountain Beneath grants 150% more experience. Stone Titan's Heart grants 400% more experience. Titan Spawns grant 46% more. Amber Elementals grants 108% more. And Rotting Hollows grant 75% less experience. Very interesting. I wonder what the experience balance here is about. I never really thought about the experience at all in the dungeons. For Soulfire Bastion, Fireless Cremoris gets 350% more. Incinerators get 50% less. And Golems get 25% less. Temporal Sanctum, Julra gets 233% more. Hunters get 38% more. And Nightmares get 27% more. Tier 3 and Tier 4 dungeon mods have been adjusted so that bosses at those tiers have a similar power to before. However, this means that earlier parts of the dungeon will be more difficult, especially for Soulfire Bastion. That's not ideal, because Soulfire Bastion is a flaming hot piece of Cheeto. It's terrible. I don't know why that would get harder, because it's going to just destroy a bunch of people because it's got really bad telegraphed attacks. But anyway, it is what it is. Monolith of Fate. Blessing changes. Oh. Interesting. What do we got here? Grand Echoes of Solarum grants 55 to 75% Void Res from 45 to 75. So easier to get that. Grand Blasting of Divinity, same thing. And Will and it's here. So basically all of the resistance blessings have a shorter roll range, 55 to 75, which should make it easier to get the higher ones. Virtue of Command grants 8 to 15 minion all res from 7 to 12. So that's a buff. Virtue of Command grants Grand Virtue of Command grants 16 to 25 from 13 to 20, also a buff. Grand Memory of Light, 45 to 70 health from 43 to 60. It's a minor buff, but it's a buff. Greed of Darkness changed to 6 to 10 ward on kill, 61 to 100 ward decay threshold from 8 to 14 health on kill. That's actually pretty nice. The grand one is what, 200 ward decay threshold and 12 ward on, or 18 ward on kill? Maybe. That might be good. 200 is okay. 200 ward decay threshold is okay. Interesting. There's also the Grand Grace of Water gives you a 260 ward decay threshold. That one might be a bit more interesting, depending on whether or not you want more ward when you're fighting enemies, the regular enemies, or bosses. I can't remember if these are mutually exclusive blessings. Light of the Moon grants 60 to 90 from 51 to 80 mana. That's the grand one. Rhythm of Tide and Grand Rhythm of Tide also grant health regen baseline. Up to 20 health regen. And that says also, so that means increase is still there. So you're going to get like 20 health regen and 200% health regen. That's a lot of health regen. Yeah, Grand's empowered version. Like just this alone, not including any other health regen you have, or increased health regen would be what, 60 health regen? Something like that, 60 health regen if you perfectly rolled it. That's pretty crazy. Taste of Venom grants 40 to 6% poison chance from 30 to 50, equaling other ailment blessings. Grand is up to 100. Grand Embers of Immortality grants the 30% endurance from 27. These are pretty much buffs across the board, yeah? Bulwark of the Tundra grants 24% increased armor from 35. Never mind. There is a not buff there. Grand Bulwark went to 55 from 70. Still almost certainly worth it. Patience of Occur and Grand Patience of Occur. That's the one that Warpath uses, and pretty much only Warpath. It's not a big nerf, though. It's still good. And then Grand Body of Obsidian also. That's the other armor one. Got nerfed as well. Interesting that they nerfed those. They were very good, but it was more of they were the only good options than they were like insanely powerful. Hunger of the Void and Grand Hunger of the Void now offer less spell leech, but still quite a lot. 5% is an insane amount, so 3.5 is still very good. Same thing with the Wrath of Rhea's throwing leech. Those are still really strong. So even the stuff that got nerfed, I don't think it's changed the meta really at all. Rhythm of Tide and Grand Rhythm of Tide might be a take for anyone who doesn't need a very specific blessing there now. Because if you can get like 100, 200 health regen without having to do anything really for it other than this one blessing, that's pretty good. And this is interesting. Grand Grace of Water. And also, Greed of Darkness now being ward stuff. You know, when ward's so bad right now, so it's good that they're giving it buffs. The teleport gamble delays fixes. I'm not sure what you mean. Is my Shadow Dagger build good for beginner? Yeah, it's very good for beginner. It's gonna be both the Shadow Dagger builds are gonna be, they're two of the best starter builds by far. Corruption scaling. All right, what do we got? These changes are intended. Shadow Dagger nerf is big. It's not. These changes are intended to allow for faster progression through the Monolith for characters that are capable of it. When we get to the Shadow Dagger stuff, we'll talk about it, but it's not big nerf. It's big. The numbers look scary. They're not. Change the modifier from Corruption to scale up more quickly. It is now larger and scales up faster, especially at high Corruption. At Corruption 100, it is 60% more monster damage and health from 50%. At 200, it's 170 from 100, so that's a big difference. At 300 Corruption, it's 281 from 147, so it's almost double. And at 500, it's 505 from 289, again, almost double. Reduced stability requirements of second and third quest echoes of non-empowered timelines. Level 90 timeline, third quest echoes require 400 stability instead of 650. The reduction in other cases is smaller, though. Okay, let's see which ones. It's the second and third quest echoes. Does that really matter? Yeah, the second and third do, yeah. Okay, so you're going to be able to get through the non-empowered ones quicker, which is nice. That's real nice. Increase the additional corruption granted by Gaze of Orbis by around 10%. Okay, cool. So we get corruption faster. Average legendary potential and Weavers will now also scale up slightly with corruption. For example, Uniques have around a 5% higher chance for 1+ LP at 100 corruption, 10% at 300 corruption, and 14% at 600 corruption. Okay. They gave us numbers. That's really good. I'm glad they gave us numbers. The it's not much, huh? 5% higher chance for 1+ at 100 corruption. And if you push all the way to 600, you only get 14. Like, that's kind of weird. Monolith mob density. Normalized mob density is now 4% lower than before in Reign of Dragons. Lowering density is a weird choice. 8% lower than it was before in the level 90 timelines. And 10% higher in all other timelines. Previously, Reign of Dragons was 15% higher than most other timelines. And the level 90 timelines were 20% higher. Regular Monolith Echoes contain 5% more enemies. It's a strange move. The other timelines being higher is good. It seems weird to lower density in any timeline right now when one of the big talking points is that there's not enough density. I think it's higher across the board. It doesn't look like it. Overall 10? No, all other timelines 10. Not overall 10. It says 10% higher in all other timelines, which means that Reign of Dragons and the 3 level 90 timelines are actually lower. Contain 5% more enemies. Does not change the number of enemy types in the Echo. This is just regular Monolith Echoes, so that's not empowered Monolith. So I don't know that there's actually a significant difference here. I mean, some of them you'll feel it. Like the non-90s and non-Reign of Dragons, which are the bottom half. You'll feel it, but in the top half, you might not feel any difference. It might even feel a little less. If that wording is to be believed. Monolith mod rewards. The increased item rarity experience from modifiers have mostly retained their existing base values. Enemies are deadly if not damaged recently. Now grants 40% increased item rarity from 20 and 40% increased experience from 15. Hey, nice. Enemies enraged at half health now grants 40% increased rarity from 18 and 40 increased experience from 5. Both those are great because I take both those most of the time. I'm happy with that. Monolith mod scaling. Monolith mods values are now static and no longer scale up with corruption or distance from the center of the echo web. Additionally, their duration now scales up to a maximum of 3 echoes from 6. Is this supposed to be classical music? Sure. The baseline values of various Monolith mods have been changed. Mods that scaled invisibly but no longer scale. Enemies enraged at half health. The size of the buff scaled up at the same pace as things like the increased damage mod. Interesting. 2000 classical. Enemies gain frenzy and haste when hit. Also used to scale up. Does not now. Enemies have high speed and crit chance to approach. Also scaled up. Enemies are deadly, not damaged recently. Also scaled. Enemies are healed if not damaged recently. Apparently also. All these. Chance to dodge, which was capped at twice its value, is not going to scale at all anymore. Interesting. So that means you get like 2 chance to dodge and it's the same chance to dodge. Doesn't change. Beethoven's 420th Symphony. Rare enemies regenerate health. Also, okay, so all those don't scale anymore. Y2 classical. New Monolith mod values. All resistance 25. Armor shred chance 35. Chill chance 20. Crit avoidance increased health 35 and 15. They were previously always 25% higher than stated. Okay, so that's not as bad as it used to be. Crit chance 15% additive. Damage and crit chance 12 and 200%. Damage and move speed 15 and 15. Damage for high health enemies 25. Like some of these are like barely noticeable. Like damage and move speed 15 and 15. That you're never gonna feel like you can't take that. Less damage taken by high health enemies 25. Endurance 30. That all of a sudden doesn't look very good. Same with a glancing blow chance, because some of these like these damage ones are just so low. Even health and damage is 18. They're so low. Damage 20. Elemental damage 25. Health 30. I think we take the damage mods now. Want to buy corruption leaderboard? What is Monolith mod value? So this is like when you choose an echo and it's got a modifier on it, this is what it's gonna have. They're now static, they don't change anymore. Mark for death 40, rare enemy, cooldown recovery 50, rare enemy health and damage 35, slow chance 18, undead health and damage 20, void enemy damage 25. So very few of these are scary in any way, shape, or form. It was kind of their goal, but man, they're really low. They're like really low. Like health and damage at 18%. And they also, remember, they also lowered the duration, so you don't have these up for as long. So like, you probably don't even care about the mods anymore. Yeah, there was some really scary stuff before. Now it's like the polar opposite, where you just ignore it and look for the rewards. So that's the new strat, I guess. Other changes: disabled bonus XP from Monolith for characters below level 50. Interesting. Wonder how much that's going to affect our ability to level pre-50 when we go into the Monolith. We're going to have to test it. All you did was look at rewards anyway, so even easier for you. 8 new Monolith echoes have been added to the game. These include 2 Ruin themed echoes, 3 Divine themed echoes, and 3 Imperial themed echoes. I like more echoes. More maps, more diversity, more good. Many Monolith scenes have been tuned to look and perform better. Completing a timeline that can unlock multiple other timelines now unlocks all of them, regardless of dialogue choices and quest echoes. That's a massive win. That means you're not gonna like blast through that dialogue at the end when you kill the boss and accidentally take the wrong one and get stuck for an hour. No longer a problem. You're just gonna get it all. Excellent. Yeah, big dub, big dub. They get rid of the dialogue. I don't know if they got rid of it, but it's not gonna get you anymore. You're not gonna get screwed anymore. Hey, we'll take it. All right, gameplay experience, full controller support. Added full controller support. That's a big statement. They're basically saying our controller support is now good. That's a big statement. Sick. Okay, where was I? Added on-screen virtual keyboard. Added full controller support. Redesigned the radial menu. Added skill swapping to ability bar from the radial menu. Added controller specific item tooltips and context. Removed auto targeting from breakables. Can you remove it from everything else too? Reduced the aggressiveness of auto targeting. Okay, that's good. This line is probably useful for everyone. We didn't know which version of server of tricks is accurate between LA tools and max roll. I don't know at the moment. I'm not sure which one's at what level of update. Right now, they can all be updated to 1.0. I'm not sure where LA Tools is with that. We should be updated, but I can't guarantee that right now. Okay, no, we're not updated yet. Okay. Lower or change. Do you guys have a problem with the music? No? Hear me loud and clear, no problem? Okay. Is it the same guy from the other day? It's fine, okay. Where was I? Spin to win is easy mode with controller, nice. Add ability to rotate when using certain skills, that's nice. Remove controller targeting for certain abilities. Rework the targeting of various movement skills. Cycle through loot on the ground. These all look really good if you play with controller. Movement ability now shows gamepad right stick icon using controller. Excellent. Online. Implemented a wide range of improvements across our matchmaking services, including improved matchmaking times, especially in towns. Will that speed up towns? Hopefully. Parties always load into towns together. Matchmake into more populated towns. Reduce matchmaking failures and disconnects. Reduced occurrence of disconnects from portaling. Matchmaking will now always use your preferred region setting after every server transition. That's good. The max number of online characters per player has been increased to 25 from 20. Hey, we get 5 more characters. That's good because I've been at the cap for a while now. Turned player queues back on. Is that a good thing? Oh. Character creation. Added solo character found challenge mode to online play. Yeah, continues to exist in offline play. This functions the same as the previous offline solo challenge, where characters cannot party and their stash is isolated from all other characters on that account. If you are fairly new, we used to have this, and we used it to run tournaments. It was a way to like guarantee that no one had an advantage because they didn't have like a share, like an existing stash. We lost it at 0.9 due to technical reasons, and it's back now. We have temporarily disabled the option to abandon solo challenges due to a bug that we're working on fixing. We plan to address this with a hotfix where abandoning the challenge transitions the character to solo account found and deletes their current stash. Yeah, that's good that they deleted or they disabled it then. That would not be a good thing. Removed Masochist challenge mode and replaced with an item that replicates the functionality. This item can be found in the first area of the game. Interesting. What kind of item is that going to be? Mechanics, Parry. Not Parry the Pig, the streamer, but Parry, P-A-R-R-Y. Added Parry as a new defense type and as a new affix type. Parry is a defensive mechanic that grants a chance to negate all damage taken from hits. However, unlike dodge, parrying does still count as being hit, and as a result of that, ailments can still be applied to you when you parry a hit. Very interesting. Parry has no effect against damage over time effects and is capped at 75%. It's not currently possible to reach this cap with available sources. Parry the Platypus? I'm not familiar with that parry. Interesting, okay. So new defensive mechanic. Reflect builds? That would be interesting. Stun avoidance rework. Please be good. Please be good. Obviously, I have an idea here. We'll get to that in a second. Twanobi, thank you for this. So much appreciated. Changed how stun avoidance affects chance to be stunned. It now adds to the flat percentage reduction in chance to be stunned that's applied after the rest of the calculation, rather than to health. It applies to the flat percentage reduction in chance to be stunned that's applied after the rest of the okay. Okay, so it's like a multiplier. 100 stun avoidance now adds 1% to your stun threshold. By default, a hit must deal more than 5% of your health to stun you. That's pretty good. If you have 100 stun avoidance, that becomes 6%. If you have 1,000, it becomes 15%. The chance that hits above this threshold will stun you is reduced correspondingly. A hit that deals 20% of your health when you have 1,000 stun avoidance has the same stun chance as a hit that deals 10% of your health when you have 0 stun avoidance. This means that stun avoidance is no longer additive with health and is now particularly effective against hits that have a small non-zero stun chance and raises the percentage of your max health that a hit must deal before it can have a chance to stun you. Subsequent stun avoidance related changes. Found my YouTube channel when you first started playing, been very helpful. Hey, thanks for letting me know, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for the support. Small hits shouldn't stun? They shouldn't. Also small attacks that happen to do a lot of damage. Like if you get crit by a stupid arrow guy. Subsequent stun avoidance related changes. Or even if you don't get crit, you still get stunned a lot. Player's inherent stun avoidance has been changed from a stack 25 to 250 plus 5 character level. This results in the threshold of damage required to stun a player with no stun avoidance from all items going from 5% of health plus ward plus 25 to 7.5% to 12.5% of health plus ward. And plus ward's scary. The stun avoidance suffix has higher values, especially at lower tiers, and can now only roll on rings from body armor and catalyst. The hybrid stun avoidance prefix has been replaced by a health and stun avoidance suffix. It rolls amulets and belts from only amulets. Belts is useless, and gives slightly more added stun avoidance than the old hybrid stun avoidance suffix did. It gives about 20% less health than the health suffix at higher tiers. It starts dropping from level 46 onward from 13. You play Warpath, you don't notice? Yeah. So let me give you my impressions with it. I did test it, and what I think people are going to feel about this. People are going to feel like this doesn't exist. It makes almost no difference on the problems. You're going to get stunned like crazy in the campaign, which is where people were really complaining about, especially Rax. Like, Rax's big issue is, I'm in the campaign, I haven't built any defenses, I'm just getting stunned constantly by stuff I can't do anything about. Why do I keep getting stunned? It's stupid. That's not going to change. You're still going to get stunned like crazy in the campaign. Maybe a little bit less, but it's not going to be a big difference. At late endgame, you're probably going to get stunned just about as much too, and you still don't want to build hybrid stun avoidance because you're getting less defense, and it's not very good anyway. So, in my opinion, people are not going to feel like this fixes their problem at all. It feels like they completely missed what the problem was, and came up with a solution that doesn't solve really anything. It makes you slightly harder to stun if you build some stun avoidance, but you're not going to do that. And otherwise, it doesn't seem to make much of it. Like, the problem wasn't that something hit you for 3% of your health. Like, that was a part of the problem. They hit you for 3% of your health, and then you got stunned. That's stupid. It's more like you've got 5 archers that are all shooting at you all at once, and they're all doing relatively small amounts of damage. It might not be 5, though. Maybe it's 10 or 15. One of them hits you, stuns you, because they can, even though little archers shooting you in the knee, which I guess would stun you in real life, but still in this game is kind of weird. And then the rest of them just hit you and kill you because you got stunned, and it was kind of silly. It's not a telegraphed attack. You're going to get hit by those every once in a while. It just feels kind of bad. Axe throwers are a really good example. Yeah, really good example. The game looks awesome. Yeah, it does. It does. Outside of this stun avoidance stuff, right? But yeah, so I don't think this solves the problem. I do think this is one of the relatively few L's in the patch. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board, I believe. I don't think Rax is going to change his opinion on it, for example. Other mechanics. Improved experience for skills with special requirements such as channel skills. Skills with weapon requirements or movement skills by adjusting elements like auto-targeting. Okay? I mean, if you removed auto-targeting, you would fix it. But okay. The grace period after changing zones is now also interrupted by using an instant cast ability or using a potion. The grace period after changing zones is interrupted. Oh, okay. Yeah, right. You enter a zone, you have a grace period where if you don't move, you can't get attacked or you can't be killed. So if you use a potion cast ability, okay, that makes sense. Bosses are no longer pushable. Hell yeah, brother. I mean, we'll see if it's real, right? Because this is about the 5th time they fixed this, but hopefully it's real. A lot of work on stun avoidance and very little impact. Basically, that's how I kind of feel about it. When a player dies, their minions are now unsummoned. Added a cooldown to prevent a player from opening portals rapidly. Portals can now only be interacted with by their creators. So you can't, like... I guess you can't troll your friend into going in the portal. Sag. Optimize skill tree visual effects to reduce loading times when the game is launched. That's good. Polished follow speeds of NPCs to more realistically follow you. There's only like one that follows you, right? Maybe 2. That's good. Increase summon B speed from 7 to 12 and acceleration from 12 to 18. Okay. Added the Kickstarter graveyard zone connected to the Soul Warden's Road. Interesting. Maybe minions? Polished follow speeds of NPCs? Maybe. I read that as like actual like quest dude that's following you around, but maybe that's what they meant. Will Falconer have leveling guides for Falconer and Warlock? Yes, we will have leveling guides for Falconer and Warlock. Should be out today. Skills and passive changes. Okay, this is going to be a big one, yeah? It's going to be a big one. Probably halfway through this or something, I'm going to have to go and get some coffee. This one should be quite large. We'll start with the Acolyte skill changes. Assemble Abomination. Engorgement now grants 2% more damage per minion consumed from 3, so that's a nerf for A-Bomb. Doesn't necessarily be a... Oh my god, see? This is why I'm going to need some coffee. I'm already starting to slip up. I don't know if that's a big one for A-Bomb, but it's definitely a nerf. Not 24-hour stream today, no. Definitely not. I have a lot of work to do. Will I do a YouTube highlight? I won't do a highlight. I just won't have time. I'll put this on YouTube, but I'm not going to do like a here's the highlights thing. I've already got 5 videos today, and I'm going to have about that many tomorrow already planned, so there's just, unfortunately, no time. Bone Golem. Bone Hail grants 12% more bone shatter damage from 15. Amalgam of Mages, 12% more from 15. 18% increased stun chance 15. Cold Vengeance now grants 10% cold resist. Doesn't look like it changed much there either. Which is dying for you? That sucks. It's not on my side. I can see you have no drop frames. Drain Life. Improve the positioning of the start of the beam to better match the Acolyte's current size. Fixed Lay Waste, saying that it disabled all leech when it only disables base leech and leech from the Drain Life tree. Did they change the words or did they change what it disabled? Necrotic Feast adds 15% base leech from increasing base leech by 50%. Wow. This is equal in power. Okay. So why did we make the change? Ravenous adds 2% health leech from increased base leech by 7%, equivalent to adding 2.1% health leech. Okay. Insatiable adds 4%. There's a lot of leech. 4% health leech from increased base leech by 12, equivalent to adding 3.6% health leech. And Death Barrier grants 18 ward and kill from 15. That's a lot of leech, man. Servers are down 11 tomorrow. Plenty of time to handle all the other pre-1.0 business. Unless you giga chat it and you log in before 11 and play offline. You just don't turn your computer off. 500 IQ strat. You guys want to play tomorrow? That's what you do. Use Drain Life, but you don't know anyone else who really did? Yeah, it's tough because it's one of those channeling skills where you stand in place. They're really tough. Dreadshade, all for 1 grants 40% more damage to the 1 minion from 60%. Okay, that's another nerf. Infernal Shade. Subjugation now scales up to a maximum damage bonus of 180. I think that was had no cap, right? Updated Subjugation's description to accurately state that it causes the skill to deal more direct damage. Soul Feast. Rest grants 85% more ward gain against boss and rares from 50. Ward buff, okay. Deals 25% more damage. Each soul fragment grants 3 ward from 5. Ward nerf. Add a new node, Bones of the Accursed, which grants 3% more hit damage and 5% more ward gained per curse on the target. It requires 1 point in Soul Seeker or 1 point in Grim Affliction and can have up to 5 points allocated. It's very much a Warlock thing right there. Here offline would just work. No, if the servers go down, it will after 1.0, but if the servers go down at 11 o'clock and you are not in the game, you can't log in. And if you can't log in, you can't play, even offline. That's what we were talking about earlier. You might not have been here for that. This is different at 1.0 when they allow true offline. But for that day before it, you got to be logged in ahead of time. And you got to stay logged in. Added a new node, Original Sin, which if the number of cursed enemies within 20 meters is below a threshold shortly after you cast Soul Feast, cause a number of enemies within that range to be marked for death to reach that threshold of cursed enemies. That's a lot of... They said a lot there. They hit the Shadow Daggers. They did. It's fine. CUF going to offline? You could. What do you think about Shadow Daggers nerf? It's not a problem. I think a lot of people are like worried about it, but it's not actually an issue. It's fine. Added a new node, Queen of Flies, which spreads all your stacks of poison from the target hit to other nearby enemies. Requires 1 point in Disease Soul. Added a new node, Another Strife, which spreads the curses, Spirit Plague, Decrepify, Mark for Death, and Penance from the target hit to other nearby enemies. It only spreads curses that the target is actually afflicted by. It requires 2 points in Soul Seeker. Hey, no problem. Replace Grave Touch with a new node, Withering Maw, which applies 1 stack of Withering per point and can have up to 3 points allocated. Withering is a stacking ailment which increases curse damage by 5%, 2% against players and bosses. Remove the Soul Bastion node, increase ward gain less damage. This is unrelated to the Soul Bastion, unique. Shield in the Soulfire Bastion dungeon. True. Oh, you wanted the patch notes? Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Gwildor. Where was I? Engorge now occupies Soul Bastion's own position, can have 3 points allocated from 1, grants -3 mana cost per point, 30% increased ward gain from greater soul fragments per point. I'm going to stop for a second. Oh my god. I don't know Acolyte super well. Reading through all... Okay, there's not actually that many. Okay, good. It's just Soul Feast is crazy. They just like completely redid Soul Feast. To the point to where like I don't even know if reading this stuff makes much sense. You probably should just look at the skill tree. For it, because there's so much different here at this point. Like this is way different. Yeah, so I think we're just not going to read all of the rest of this. There's just a bunch of changes for Soul Feast. That's TLDR, Soul Feast, big different. Let Red do the heavy lifting for some stuff you can't read. True. Okay, summon Skeletal Mage. The nodes that previously allowed Skeletal Mage to cast Sacrifice now allow them to cast Profane Ablation, a similar skill. It deals 75% more damage and deals necrotic damage rather than physical. Summon Skeleton got a bit of changes too. It now gets 10% Fizz Res from Marrow Tap. Dread Phalanx gives it health. Unbound Necromancy grants it added crit chance from increase. That's a buff for sure. Unless you were able to get easy added crit and not easy increase elsewhere. Multi-shot now grants 8% more bow damage per point to skeletons. That's nice. Skeleton Rogue Shift can be used from 25% further away. Skeleton Rogue Shift now puts them closer to target, so they do not need to walk into melee range. That's good. Definitely, it's good that a skill that is teleporting a melee minion towards a target is actually getting them close enough to hit it. Skeletons Rogue's Acid Flask now deals 30 base damage from 20 and has 150 added damage effectiveness from 100. Lots of buffs to summon Skeleton. Acid Flask cast times reduced by 32%. Skeleton Rogue's Shurikens now deal 30 base damage from 16 and have 150% added damage effectiveness from 100. All buffs. All buffs. Its Shuriken now has a 20-degree angle between projectiles from 15 and pierces all targets. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I'm reading to you, Bishop, for sure. Summon Skeleton Rogue melee attack changed to be a double hit, matching their animation. This means they get 2 hits off at the same time they get 1 hit off previously. This is like mostly melee stuff, yeah? Are they trying to make melee Summon Skeleton good? Summon Skeleton Rogue's melee hits now have 15 base damage from 18 and 75 add... Never mind. I spoke too soon. Sequel of Avarice grants 30% melee area from 25, 60% more damage from 40, and now also grants 30% more health. Summon Volatile Zombie. Dreadful Horde and Giant Zombie now only have a 10% chance to trigger their effects on indirect casts from always triggering, such as via Awakening Presence. trying to remember which one that is. It sounds like a pretty big nerf. I'm going to actually pull up some skill trees on the side here on some of these things, because trying to remember them by names, you might recall I'm not good at that, so let's pull up Acolyte. Where are you? There you are. And this is Dreadful Horde and Giant Zombie. Some additional zombies per cast, but evolves a zombie costs more mana as additional cooldown. They only have a 10% chance to trigger that? Why would you ever want that? Giant zombie, you now summon a single large zombie with more health, deals more damage. Why would you ever want that? At 10% chance. I'm confused. Anyway, giant zombies giving 120% increased mana cost from 300. Okay. Quarter packs in the cosmetic shop will still be available on launch. Yes. They're keeping them through the cycle. Thanks, Reaper. You're doing the Falconer guide today on last Epoch, right? And will you release a video on YouTube when it happens? Yes. I actually have to make sure those don't release too soon. Keep track of that. But yeah, the plan, at least, and there's no reason I can think of that it won't happen, is we will have the Falconer guide up and a YouTube video. What do I have it scheduled for? Actually move that back and maybe change it. Just trying to make sure we're coordinated on this. Okay. Solid Flame Wraith nerf. Flame Wraith nerf. Let's see. Projectile they cast lasts 1.05 seconds from 1.25, resulting in traveling short distance. And they have 20% less cast speed. Do you really think that's going to make much of a difference? Like, if something's 20 times more powerful, then maybe it should be. Does bring its power down by like a fifth gonna make much of a difference? Do you keep the stash tabs you bought in cycle 1? No, you keep them on Eternal, or the Legacy. You keep them on Legacy, but for cycles you'll have to get new ones. What's up, Brian? We're called interrupted ability to hear an answer. Oh, the cosmetic supporter packs? Yeah, they're gonna still be in there. They're not going away for cycle 1. Other changes: adjusted mechanics for curse and new curses. Decrepify is a curse that causes enemies to take more damage over time. This is Warlock stuff. Torment, Acid Skin, all these are Warlock stuff. Penance and Anguish, all new curses. If you want more information, check out the Max Roll Warlock sort of reveal stuff. You're playing Flame Wraith as your first build? Well, like I said, if something was 20 times more powerful than it should be and you drop it by a fifth, is that going to make much of a difference? Mage skill changes. Arcane Ascendance. Shocking Expanse grants 40% shock chance from 30. Doesn't really matter. Slow Breathing grants 12% reduced mana drain from 10. Probably doesn't really matter. Cosmic Insight grants 15% increased cooldown recovery speed from 10, but it's no longer multiplicative with our sources of increased cooldown recovery speed. It's a buff unless you had more than 50% increased CDR from other sources, but not much of one. Mana Surge grants 6 mana kill from 5. Not much change there. The new minion related affixes. Yep, there's also those. That's true. So if you consider that as well, all the added damage that you can get now on your suffixes isn't even a nerf. Skill feel. I mean, if you got 10 or 15, I can't remember how many wraiths you have, all firing, is it going to feel much different? I don't think it's gonna. Projectile change will be a bigger nerf. We'll have to walk slightly closer, I guess, but I really think it's still an S tier build. In fact, well, we haven't done the 1.0 version of it, but I think it's still an S tier build. I think it might still be the S tier build, like for certain content, like still the #1 build. Or if not the #1, very close. Black Hole. Infusion grants 18 ward per second from 10 and can have 5 points allocated. That's a lot of ward per second. Massive grants 15% increased area and can have 4 points allocated. Dead Space grants 90% freeze multi from 75. Okay. Gravity's Guile grants 35 fizz damage per point. Scorching can have 5 points. Okay, not a whole lot changed here, honestly. Not a whole lot. Black Hole still looks like it's not going to do anything. Yeah, there are definitely new minion suffixes. Still Giga Strong, yeah. The new affixes for it. So there's new minion affixes that are like added was added bow and spell, added melee and spell, and I think added melee and bow. You can take like 2 and get double added if you wanted. 1000% physical damage increase. What is? Hey, Rotten. You're stoked for the release? That's awesome, dude. Glad to hear it, man. Guile. 35 fizz from on this one. I don't know what this one was before. Oh, it's from 5 to 35. Oh, yeah. I mean, that is a lot of physical damage, but how often do you scale physical damage on Mage? When can creators show off gameplay of their new 1.0 builds? You can actually go to my YouTube right now and you can find my review, which has 20 minutes of CT footage on it. Disintegrate. Has a 15% longer beam. Okay. It grew. It grew. It still sucks. Elemental Nova. Previously, the hitboxes for all Elemental Nova versions were slightly plus-shaped. Weird. It's been fixed so they are spherical. This results in a slight buff as the Novas will more reliably hit. That's good. Big PP. Adjusted the visual effects of the default in Lightning Novas to more closely match the hitboxes. It's just hitbox stuff, mostly. Fireball is 30% faster. Its duration is shorter, resulting in the same distance covered, but quicker. Fireball Ignite chance increased from 40 to 20, 240 from 25. Not much there either. Frostclaw. I like Frostclaw. Shiver Shell grants 4 ward on cast from 6. Fan of the Frozen now grants 20% chance to slow and chill from 15. Interesting, that did not need that buff. Gift of Winter now grants 12% chance to regain 12 mana from 4%. That's nice. Reowen's Veil now grants 1 ward on cast per 40 freeze multi from per 20. Okay, that's a nerf. On Through the Snow now adds 6 mana cost from 8. Ever Onward now adds 6 from 8. That one's a mixed bag, depending on how you were playing it. I think Frostclaw got hit harder because it's got half the ward on cast from its freeze rate multi. Frost Wall. This is a skill that's a little... What's the word I want here? Not everybody likes how it's set up. Crystals of Protection now grants 20 ward on pass from 30. That's a really, really weird nerf because it wasn't good. Protection of the Apostate now grants 5 ward on enemy pass through from 10. Again, weird nerf, wasn't good, no one was taking it. Chilled Touch now has up to 2 points from 1 and grants 7% more damage to chilled enemies while you have a Frost Wall per point from 5. So it went from 5 to 15% more damage. So that's a buff. Prepared Ward's node in the Frost Wall tree no longer causes 250% of Flame Ward's mana to be consumed, but now gives Frost Wall a 12-second cooldown, which is shared with Flame Ward. Divisive's a good word, yeah, for what I was looking for. Maxwell tier list update when? Probably pretty soon. We'll see. So this here is huge because this is how you did the perma uptime Flame Ward, but now you can't because it's going to give Frostwall and Flame Ward a 12-second cooldown when you do it, which makes this node useless. Complete trash. Don't touch it. No use whatsoever. It makes Flame Ward actually worse if you take it. Don't know why it's like that. Definitely need to be changed. Weird change, though. Like, weird how they did it. Overall, quality of life just went up for us, though, because having to cast a Frost Wall every 5 seconds and walk through it kind of sucked. Glyph of Dominion. Charged Reflection now grants 1 ward per second per 5% total uncapped resistance from per 4. That's a nerf. Arcane Mirror now grants 15% to all resistance from 25. Another nerf. Meteor, one of my favorite skills that I don't play that much because it doesn't feel amazing. Cycle of Fire causes you to gain 10 ward from casting Fireball with Craterborn from 8. Minor buff. Infernal Column increases mana cost by 15 from 25. Buff. Aftermath restores 16% of mana from 15. Tiny buff. Force of Impact grants 50% increased stun chance from 40 and 25% increased stun duration from 20. Small buff. Shattering Star grants 50% chance for Shrapnel from 34 and can have 2 points allocated from 3 as a buff. Rapid Break Up grants 40% increased Shrapnel speed and range from 30, but can have 3 points allocated from 4. Well, that's technically a buff because you get a skill point. Not a ton change in Meteor there. It's pretty much the same. Rune Bolt, Pyromantic now grants 10% more fire damage from 6. Buff. Fulminating now grants 10% more damage from 6. Buff. Pyromantic Bolt grants 10% more cold damage from 6. Buff. Rune Bolt's efficient experiment node now correctly states that it requires Glyph of Chaos and not Rune of Chaos. Interesting. Increased responsiveness of casting Rune Bolt. Rune Bolt now has 20% more cast speed. So Rune Bolt got buffed. I don't know if this is enough to make it feel especially good. It didn't do really any damage before. Runic Invocation. So you'll remember this is the skill that has like 40 different skills built into it, or sub-skills built into it, depending on what patterns you make with your other skills. Plasma Orb. The orb part deals 40% more damage when it hits an enemy. Wasn't Plasma Orb like super OP? Wasn't that like one of the strongest builds? But not the contact? What was the part that people were using to do all that damage? Igneous Rain now has a 50% ignite chance, and ignite it inflicts have 20% increased duration. All right, that's something. Realms of Mayhem now costs 38 mana from 44. It shits out bolts of lightning. Okay, so doesn't really affect it too much. It did get more damage though, and it's already really good, so it's kind of weird. Rune Gale deals 20% more damage for both parts of the ability. Aragon's Greater Fireball Explosion deals 4% more damage, and Spreading Flames inflicts deal 100% more damage. That one might be interesting. I don't know if that's enough to make that good, but it's interesting. Argon's Mirror Bolt deals 25% less damage. Who's out there using Argon's Mirror Bolt and getting it nerfed? Ball Lightning deals 25% more damage. Rio 1's Frostguard Invocation grants 14 ward plus 1 ward per intelligence every 0.4 seconds. They just give Rio 1's Frostguard more shit? Airgon was true. That's a good point. Airgon, I don't know why you did that. You just got it nerfed for some reason. You only got using it. Hydrahedron deals 25% less damage. Increased mana cost is 60 from 55. Change max target range from 13 to 15. Not going to make much of a difference. Hydrahedron was doing lots and lots of damage. Snap Freeze. So this is another one of those skills that was controversial because it was possible to set up in a way that you could perma freeze bosses. Its cooldown is now 18 seconds. Now 20% of its remaining cooldown is recovered when you freeze an enemy, including with Snap Freeze itself. This effect can occur a maximum of 2 times each second. Change the Flash Freeze node to now have 1 point allocable from 3 points. 18 seconds, yeah. We'll see how that plays out. Stork's still bad. Runemaster's still better. Not bad, but boring. Definitely still seems to underperform, at least with that stuff. Primalist skill changes. Earthquake. Fury of the Elements has new functionality. No longer creates a lightning storm. Now expends 5 storm stacks per point, or 0.5 seconds. Storm bolts triggered this way deal 15% more damage per point. Storm bolts is that new thing they added with the shaman skills that they changed. Terra's Blessing, Ancestral Renewal now shows the Summon Healing Totems tooltip. Caustic Renewal now shows the Summon Scorpion tooltip. And Soul Bond now shows the Summon Spriggan tooltip. Okay. Fury Leap. Summon Vines from Rise now share more info, such as duration and base health. Violent Upheaval now properly shows ability tooltips. These are just bug fixes, basically. Lagon's Wrath, Stormbringer, and Rejuvenating Storms now mention and use Stormbolt instead of a Lightning subskill, exclusive to Fury Leaps. That's going to be a buff for that. Stormbringer has been clarified to state it modifies the frequency of Stormbolt, not the projectile speed. Rejuvenating Storms no longer gives Lightning Pen. Instead, it gives added spell damage per 2 attunement while leaping. That seems like a buff. Fury Leap has a slightly lower delay before jumping. That's good. Reduced from 0.2 to 0.1. That's not slightly, that's half. This should help it feel more responsive in combination with the new animations. Good. Yeah, good. Some of the movement skills do feel a little unresponsive at times. What are your thoughts on Frostclaw Runemaster with Frost Wall for the changes now? So it'll just change to where we're not going to use Frost Wall anymore. We will just use Flame Ward directly. It will be a nerf to the build. I don't think it will be enough to not make it very good. Maelstrom. Grip of Chaos now correctly say that Twisters deal physical damage and not cold damage. Grip of Chaos now shows the Twister ability tooltip when holding Alt. Twisters deal 50% more damage per second. That's nice. Tsunami now shows the Tsunami ability tooltip when holding Alt. Power of the Storm, Strong Tides, and Energized nodes now use Stormbolt. Summon Bear. Are the summons good now? Like the non-wolf squirrel summons. Retaliatory Thorns now has a 1 second cooldown. That's bad, right? Tearing Thorns now also grants the Thorn Burst 10% more damage. Thick Hide grants 40% more health in the third. That seems like overall a nerf to Summon Bear. Summon Raptor. Razor Wings grants 5 melee fizz damage from 3. small buff. Sharp Claws grants 20% more damage over time from 20% increase. That's a buff, but I think most Raptor builds go crit, don't they? Doesn't really help that much. Ah, Wolf. So this is going to be related to squirrels. Blazing Shadow build is dead? No, it's still S tier. Nice try. Legendary Bite now has 1 point from 5, but grants 40%. That's going to be like a thing, right? Everyone's going to think it's dead because it got a nerf. It's still one-shots like almost everything. And still insanely fast. Legendary Bite now has 1 point, but grants plus 40% more melee damage, 40% more stun chance, 5% added crit chance, but also 10% less attack speed. Let me read that again. 1 point from 5, 40% more melee, 40% more stun, 5% added crit. Holy shit, that's a lot of stuff. 10% less attack speed from 15% more melee, 5% more stun, and 50% more crit. In some ways, this might be a buff. Because you gain 4 skill points as well, depending on how many other good things are in the tree. And then the 25% more melee damage from 50% increase is a buff. Did they just... Are they going to end up buffing squirrels? On the Hunt grants 8% increased attack speed per point from 10 and 12% increased movement speed per point from 10. Wolfen Recovery now grants 8% increased health regen and 4 flat health regen. Storm Caller's Reprisal now mentions it triggers your Storm Bolts instead of its own lightning ability. Okay. You're back. Welcome back, man. Stormborn now mentions it triggers your Storm Bolt instead of its... I said that already, didn't I? No, it's a different one. Okay. Stormborn also a chance to trigger when the wolf hits an enemy. Wolves and squirrels deal 10% more damage. Removes an unintentional 50% more melee damage modifier on squirrels. Squirrels from Herald of the Scurry now have a 35% less damage dealt modifier from 45% stayed on Herald of the Scurry's tooltip, 0% in reality. Okay. It's funny they're giving it back some of the power that it wasn't supposed to have though. When if it was 45% less damage, it still would have been OP. The OP-ness would still have been real here. So it's kind of weird that they're like trying to take back some of the nerf. Like, why? As a result from these changes, wolves deal 10% more melee damage than they did, while squirrels deal 38% less melee damage than they did. Yeah, which will still be like really, really powerful. What do you think that? Those single target boss damage has fallen sharply? No, it's like if you killed it in like, if you killed the boss in like 40 seconds, now you kill it in 50 seconds. Okay. Who cares? Like, it's not going to make much of a difference. Everything else is going to be a one-shot. Like, I understand the concern, but it's... I guarantee you, it is not moved in the tier at all. It is still S or A in pretty much every... In every single area, it's going to be S or A tier. So it won't be the strongest single target, but it never was. And it won't change that much. Smokebound buff will also offset. Yeah, it will at the high end. Yeah, having all that added... damage instead of increased damage will also help on the high end, so it will be fine. It'll be absolutely fine. Squirrel build has contributed to sales, true. It had so much overkill damage, it doesn't matter. So it had plenty of damage to basically one-shot anything when you're mapping. And it was not an overpowered single target. And so now it's like slightly less good at single target, but still has enough damage to basically one-shot everything else. And so there's not really any reason to move it, because again, if you lose 10 seconds or even 20 seconds of time on a boss every hour or even every half hour, that doesn't really change anything. It's still going to scale mostly the same. You're getting more and more hype. Nice. Your last act in early access now is a 3LP siphon. Nice. And I have tested on CT, guys. So I've tested Shadow Daggers. It's absolutely fine. There's nothing bad there. And I gave them feedback to make sure it didn't get like super nerfed. It could definitely handle a nerf. Katana Implicit nerfed. Oh, is it? I didn't see that one. But yeah, it still wouldn't be that much of a big deal. Hey, welcome back, Johnson. Dagger Burb dead? No, no, it's not. Where was I? Yeah, so squirrels I think is fine. 38% less melee damage it can handle. Summon Scorpion. Its tail attack has 200% chance to poison on hit from 100% with 200% increased duration. Tail attack now has a 40 base damage and 200% added damage effectiveness. I would love to see a Scorpion build actually be like really, really good. I don't know if this does it, but I'd love to see it. Thorn Totem. Oaken Protection also grants 10 physical resistance. Pillars of Heorot also grants 25 cold resistance. Titan's Bane now grants 100% increased attack speed from 150. Nightshade's Briar now has a maximum damage bonus of 80% from 120. That, okay, doesn't really seem to make much of a difference. Like, well, actually, no, it does. Titan's Bane now grants 100% from 150. That might affect Thorn Totem setups. I'm not sure. I don't know that build super well. Tornado, the Charge, Storm, Frequent Lightning, and Overcast Skies nodes now use Stormbolt. Nice. Hey, Mushi. Upheaval. Adjusted the ability timing to better match the animation. Upheaval, by the way, guys, is one of my favorite thematic skills, and I absolutely hate the skill tree. It takes away any damage you could possibly do by locking any of the fun stuff behind massive amounts of mana and not giving enough multipliers. So it would be nice if this was really good. Use duration changed to 0.8 from 0.75, corresponds to 6% less attack speed. Okay. Added damage effectiveness changed from 135 to 135 from 120, corresponds to 12% more hit damage. Okay. Not nearly enough. This change expected to be a slight buff to most upheaval builds, which there's like one. The attack speed change does not apply to upheaval totems, so they benefit more from this change, which is the only build that ever really even existed. Shockwave from the Sundering Strike node on the upheaval tree are also affected by the added damage effectiveness change in order to maintain damage parity with upheaval. So that's really disappointing. They didn't really do much of anything there. You hated the animation. It's good the animation is fixed then, but as far as the skill being more useful, nothing really changed. Does that ruin the speed strat? I don't think it does. It is interesting though, Naked, that you don't get bonus from it. I just think you'll level a little bit slower at the front end, but you're still going to want to skip all that content if you can. And just be a little bit slower to catch up. Warcry. Toxic companions now show the summon wolf tooltip. And Whirlpool now shows the Maelstrom. Okay, so we moved into Rogue. I'm going to make a quick cup of coffee. I'll try to do it in like 2 minutes. I'll be right back and we'll go into the Rogue stuff. Alright, here we go. Am I about to do Falcon Shadow Dagger after Shadow Dagger nerf? Yes! The Shadow Dagger Falconer was made with the nerfs known. Falcon Fizz build be viable? I don't know. It's a good question. I love it thematically as well. Cinder Strike lacks multipliers. Might slow it down. Hard to say. So I just did a 500 IQ play, guys. I was making coffee. I've got the Keurig. You know, where you pour the water in the top reservoir. You put the K-cup in. Flame it down. Make it. I did all that. Then I got my creamer to pour into the cup. But instead of doing that, I opened the reservoir and poured some creamer in that. So that was brilliant. Last song. Apparently I can't go. Okay, we're going. This one, Insatiable Ascension by Laura Platt. Do I think Blade Dancer and Falcon are about equal for their Shadow Dagger builds? I think they're really close right now. I think we need to spend a lot more time with those, especially with like getting lots of gear and stuff and seeing how they play out in the factions. Right now they play very, very closely. Has started the creamer, exactly. No, I don't think we got to low life yet, JS. The 2 is more fun. It really comes down to playstyle and thematics. One is a Falcon that flies you across the map and then you just blast a bunch of enemies and like half the map. And the other one is you just like speed to the objective while things die behind you, and then sometimes stop and like effectively assassinate enemies by jumping in and jumping back out. They're both insanely fun to me. Get your friend to play Falcon or Shadow Blade so you can play it through him while you play Blade Dancer. That's a good idea. Okay, rogue stuff. The hit portion of the skill now has 100% added damage effectiveness from 60 for Acid Flask. Poison pools from the Poison Pool node are now limited to a maximum of 4 active at once. Acid Flask Caustic Concoction grants 25% poison chance from 15. That's 4 points. Acid Flask has a new node called Alchemist Gift that turns it into a trap. That part's cool. Acid Flask doesn't have enough multipliers. That didn't change. Watched my 1.0 YouTube video. Gameplay looks great. Yeah, doesn't it? Looks so good. I was so excited to show that gameplay stuff off. Got some 6 skill tree points, such as crit avoidance. Falcon's got a lot of good stuff for sure. Ballista. Bina's favorite. It's better for the 2 levels. True. This is way better for those 2 levels in the story. That's a good point. I forgot about that. It's just got a big buff. Under single target damage looking for Shadow Daggers, it looks higher. I think Falconer's is higher than Blade Dancer, if that's what you mean. Do you mean SD Falconer versus SD Blade Dancer? Ballista deals 50% more damage. Has 20% increased attack speed. Shared enhancement, buff to 25% damage sharing from 15%. Intimidating shot, buff to 20% ailment sharing 15. Ballista's gonna be crazy, guys. Its turn speed now scales increase to mini attack speed, making it feel better in combat. At a new node, which grants 1% increased placement speed per dexterity, and 1% increased attack speed for 5 dexterity. It's attached to the root node. If you loved Ballista as a concept, if you're like one of those 5 people out there that really loved Ballista but didn't think it was very good, this is your cycle. This is your patch. Requires 1 point in it instead of being attached to the root node themselves. Flaming shots now require 1 point in agile engineering from 1 point rapid fire, so they just move stuff around. Security Foundation gives 15% increased duration from 10. Buff, buff, buff. Buff, 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 buff. Buff. Do a video recapping patch notes. I won't do like a recap probably. I'll probably just put this on YouTube with like the front edited out. The name of the build using Ballista, I believe we're going to have 2 on Max Roll. We have 2 different ones. I believe we're going to have an explosive one and a regular one. Cinder Strike. The first bow attack is 20% slower. Why? Why? Cinder Strike's first attack now has 200% added damage. Nerf! They nerfed a skill that has like 1 use case, which is Dragon Song, and they nerf it before you get to play with the new gloves. Like, why are we nerfing it when it wasn't good, and then they put out a unique for it that maybe could help it be good, and we don't even know yet? Too strong? Yeah, like what? Okay, that was fun. Dancing Strikes. Windmill Ballet now has 2 points and grants 50% chance to use shurikens from 30. Okay, doesn't matter. Shadow Daggers. Here's one everyone's terrified of. Now has 68 base damage from 90. That should make it not quite as powerful in the story, but still pretty powerful because 68 base damage is a lot of base damage. And 340% added damage effectiveness from 450. $340, $450. So, a 25% nerf on the added damage effectiveness. That's all. The build is doing plenty of damage. And remember, what makes Shadow Daggers so good wasn't explicitly the damage. The damage is what allows these builds to like thrive, because it's a source that you can get and then do the other cool things like go insanely fast. You can still go insanely fast, as far as I know. I don't see anything in here. And you'll still do very good damage. It just won't be quite as high. This was very much within the realm of what I thought was reasonable. I didn't think Shadow Daggers was OP, but it could handle a nerf on damage. And in testing, that's exactly it. If they did any more than this, if they started to, for example, affect mechanically how Umbral Blades gives Shadow Daggers, etc., stuff like that, they could completely kill the build. But in this case, this is absolutely fine. There's no problem here. Stays in the same tier. You won't even notice the difference. Nerf Cinder Strike, I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Shift. Give Shift a fixed 0.1 second use delay. Why? Also edited the animation to make it smoother. Okay. I don't know about these, like, second use delay things. Or these, like, period of time use delays. It sounds like that's going to make it feel bad. About that shift change, does it feel good? I don't recall. And part of the problem with trying to know is, like, on the current servers, a lot of times you get really big delays in the movement ability because of server lag or whatever. So it's hard to say how much this affects it. Isn't second use about jumping back to Shadow? Second use? Oh, a fixed 0.1 second use delay. I'm not sure what that means, actually. What does that mean? A grace period for other animations? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just supposed to be a grace period. Improving the servers? Yeah. Any gameplay footage from Warlock? I would check and see if Lizard's got his video out. He's probably got some footage on that. Check Lizard IRL on YouTube. Also check Volca. If Volca's got some footage. Smoke Bomb. Smoke Blades grants +4 melee and throwing damage from 10% increased melee and throwing damage listed 20% actual. So early on that'll be like a nerf, and later on that'll be a buff. No problem. Any chance of seeing the new uniques? I don't know if they show them in here or not. Falconer leveling guide? Yes, there will be, probably today. Sentinel skill changes. Alright, let's see if they fix the Racing Strike without reading this. Here's the problem with the Racing Strike. It's not the damage. The damage is fine. The problem is, you go to do a Racing Strike, you walk up to the enemy, you go, and then it hits you for like 2 damage and you get stunned out of it and you can't attack, and then something else comes up and hits you and you die. That's the problem with the Racing Strike. That's why it sucks ass. Now has 550% added damage effect from 450. Okay, does more damage, but you still get stunned. Mark of the End has 100% chance to shred enemy void resistance from 25. Again, not fixing the stun problem. Void beams cast by Racing Strike deals 20% more damage per second. Void beams in the tree now have clearer descriptions, so this skill is still shit. Sad, because I love it conceptually, I love it visually, and every time I try to play it, it's hot garbage, even though it does good damage. It feels like it's going to be the same. Maybe they thought all the stun avoidance changes they made are going to make a difference, but they're not. 1.0.1 will be the patch of the stun fixes. We can only hope. Forge Strike now has 500% added damage effectiveness from 400. Now provides a sub-skill tooltip for summon weapon. Clarified Spear Forge to say it deals damage to small arrow. I don't know if that's enough to make Forge Strike good. I would guess it doesn't. That's what, like a 20% buff on a skill that wasn't really close. It's probably still not close. Hammer Throw. Fix Iron Spiral not showing the added mana cost as a downside. Okay. Judgment. Pious Offering grants 3% more damage per 2 mana consumed from 2% more damage per 1. So that is a nerf to Judgment. Sacred Sword grants 50% Ignite chance on hit from 25. They buff on the Ignite chance. I don't think it's used very much, though. So Judgment got a bit of a nerf. Lunge. Fix spelling mistakes in Ambuscade, which still looks like it's misspelled because I don't know what that word is. Lead the Charge explains the effect happens at the end. Voidbringer shows the correct time rot info, and Rough Cuts clarifies that only affects the hits along the path. So no changes for Lunge, really. Not even close. Oh, for Rip Shadow Daggers? Yeah, no, not Rip Shadow Daggers. All right, hold on. We're gonna fix this. There. I put a background on that so it's easier to see. There we go. There we go. How's that? Is that better? Noted Shadow Dagger Dads? Yeah, there you go. Make it Rip SD. That would be so toxic, dude. That would be so toxic. When you pull out your pitchfork, what are you supposed to do with it now? That's between you and the pitchfork, man. I don't want to know. Multi-strike. Armaments is highlighted in the main description. Armament stacks now show more info, such as max default stacks and duration. Echoed Warfare now clarifies Echoes there. So multi-strike still sucks. You told me Ellie is dead? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, multi-strike still has the same problem that just about every melee ability has. That's really, really, truly melee. It gets hit too much and there's nothing it can do about it. And it has no special defenses. Hydrohedron still S tier? Yeah, it still is. It's just like Shadow Daggers. It could easily absorb a 25% nerf. A good nerf for SD is increase the stat count required for it to pop. I don't think that would be a good idea at all. I think that would kill it. I think the only thing that Shadow Dagger needs at this point is it's too strong in leveling. There's a few ways that you could have fixed that, but it is not too strong at endgame. It's an S tier build not because of Shadow Dagger's damage, but because of the Falconer and the Blade Dancer's ability to move insanely quickly. And then it does sufficient damage to clear stuff on the way. Rebuke, let's see what we got here. Rebuke has been a skill that's been a bit problematic for a long time because it gave a built-in 80% damage reduction bonus, which allowed you to tank stuff that you otherwise would never be able to tank. It now has an 8-second cooldown from 5. Protective Legacy, buffs persist after channeling, is changed to be half the channel duration from the full channel duration. Okay, so less persistency. Burst of Speed grants haste for half the channel duration. From increased movement speed for the full channel duration. So then you won't be able to stack it with other haste sources. Solemn Vow grants 15% increased duration from 20 and have a maximum of 2 points allocable. Added a new node behind Retal called Reclaimed Refuge that recovers some of Rebuke's remaining cooldown and melee hit with other attacks. Huh. Interesting. Change to skilled. Yeah. I mean, honestly, Walter, we could actually do that. You're going to notice the theme here where all the OP stuff is still OP and all the stuff that wasn't OP still ain't OP. That's going to be the theme of this. So we could actually do that. Where were we? There it is. Add a new node behind Mystic Ages called Stoic Challenge that adds an additional charge to Rebuke. Inner Focus now has 3 points allocable. Battle Meditation grants 30% increased mana regen. Augmented Plating grants 50% more armor. I'm just kind of curious what the goal here was with Rebuke. This is like, oh, maybe they made it so you couldn't use it as often, but then they give you, like, if you do a melee attack, now you get it. probably more often. So maybe it's they wanted melee to benefit from it more. Lots of buffs throughout here with healing, with armor. Yeah, it's interesting. Ring of Shields. Collateral damage now provides a sub-skill tooltip for shrapnel. Clarified displacement wording to say. Okay, so nothing changed there. Ring of Shields still whatever it is. Unspec Rebuke is worse now. I mean, technically because you have to wait 3 seconds longer, but there's very few attacks that happen more than every 8 seconds. So does it really matter? No reason to run Frost Wall. For most builds. Nerf Shadow Daggers, they did. I was looking for Necro Fire Wraith build and hammered in Nova. No changes. I mean, there are changes, but nothing that affected it in the tier list as far as I'm concerned. Rive removed the Opportunist node. More crit chance against ignited enemies. Added a new node, Scrap Metal. Whenever you would summon a forged weapon, causes you to gain a stack of Scrap Metal buff. Interesting. Each grants 3% more armor and Rive damage in less than 10 seconds. Duration can be modified by modifiers to forge weapon duration. Requires 1 point for a foe cleaver. Whenever you would summon a forge weapon, it causes you to gain a stack. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Very interesting. No problem, dude. Shield Rush. Void Beams cast by Shield Rush deal 25% more damage per second, so they still aren't any good. The Void Beams in the tree now have clear descriptions. Shield Throw. Forge Born adds 4 fire damage from 2. Heavy Shield now adds 5 throwing damage from 3 throwing fizz. That's a minor buff, but at least, you know, if you're going fire, you're going to get fire. That's nice. Hey, Herbs, thanks for the sub. Much appreciated. Armoring Aegis grants 20 armor on Ricochet from 25. They've been trying to get this in line for a long time. I guess they'll continue to keep trying to do so. The only way that Shield Throw would gain anything has nothing to do with this and everything to do with that unique that's coming out that allows them to scale, what's it, scale damage based upon reflect. There might be something there, but this doesn't really make much difference. Smelter's Wrath, your armor is doubled while channeling Smelter's Wrath. That is nice. Smelter's Wrath is a tough sell because you have to stand there and channel for quite a long time to get maximum damage, which makes it very slow and also puts you in danger. Even with big buffs, it might not be enough. Off for work. All right, Mariano. Have a good day at work, man. Smite. Nodes related to Fissure now provide the correct sub-skill tooltip. Okay. Vengeance. Iron Blades are now affected by nodes on the tree. That's good. Weird they weren't. Double Riposte mitigates 18% less damage from 16. Wow. Okay, that's a buff. I mean, it's not a big one, but it's a buff. Dark Duelist is now 4% more global damage while preparing for 20% increase. That's a buff. Might help out with that whole healing hand setup. You like the new Monolith changes? It sounds good, and staying at 100 corruption doesn't feel bad now. Even going to 200 seems like a good investment. Yeah, I think it's good. Warpath. Juggernaut Stance explains the alt text you can block without needing a shield. Reckless Spin explains you can mitigate the element resistance reductions. These are just like telling new players what's going on. Forge Master's Stance provides a sub-skill tooltip. Nothing changed in Warpath, so same as it was. Skelly Rogues got a lot of technical and flat damage changes for the suffixes. Looks like a buff, but a slight melee nerf. Yeah, it kind of looks like they're going to be buffed, more or less. The Summon Skeletons is just going to be generally buffed. I did see a couple of nerfs in there, but I would not be surprised if the suffixes are enough to push it back over. Passive changes. All right, Primalist passive changes. Berserker, which is the low life node, grants 15% more melee damage from 20% and 4% less damage taken from 5% at low health. Now, you can put 5 points into this. That's still 20% less damage taken and 75% more melee damage. Is this going to cause you to go not low life? No, this is not going to affect it at all. Because it's low life is good, even if you didn't have this node at all. This makes no difference. Ligonian Wrath now grants +1 melee damage and spell damage per point. With 4 points allocated, you have a 25% chance to cast Stormbolt when hit. Lagon's Answer now grants 8% chance to cast Stormbolt. So these are the Stormbolt changes that have been added with the new skills. Thunderstrike also grants 10% chance to cast Stormbolt. So if you're looking for like a cool sub-skill proccing thing from like Shaman, this might be up your alley. Conflux now grants 3% increased area for area skills and 1% less damage taken from shocked enemies per point. That's a kind of a cool thing. With 5 points allocated, your indirect Stormbolt casts have a 20% cast again chance to cast again after 0.25 seconds. So 5 points allocated, you get 5% damage reduction. Can survive farming the new season? I have no idea. I have no idea if it's gonna be able to survive the new corruption. Probably will depend on how quickly it kills things. Mage. Starting with Rune Master. Arcane Focus. Reduced ward gain on cast to 4 from 5. Not much of a difference. Edict of the Scion. Reduced ward gained on area skill use to 4 from 6. That went from like 108 to like 74. Something like that. Still good. Jagged Veil. Reduced ward gain on critical strikes to 1 from 2. That's kind of a weird change. When I see changes like this, it makes me think they don't understand where the issues really are with ward, because that ward gain on critical strikes wasn't very good anyway. It was enough to where you could just not take it, put it other places and not really notice that much. Unless you had relatively low ward gen to begin with, then it was kind of nice. But if you had like big ward gen, it barely made a difference. Buff to 3 rune word buffs, Avalanche, Hurricane, and Inferno. To grant 10 spell damage of their respective element from 6. Probably doesn't change anything there, either you took it or you didn't. Runic Fortress, reduce the burst of ward from a portion of your armor to 20% of armor from 25. Yeah, not much changing there. Net mana cost is 16 with 2 additional nets. Even with 2 times tier 5 mana, throwing stuff is still 10 mana per throw with insane throw speed. Get tier 7s then. Or just don't get insane throw speed, or get some mana regen somewhere else. Sorcerer, Chronomancy grants 5% Ignite, Chill, and Shock duration. Distant Spark grants 8% chance to proc Spark Nova from 6. And Warder grants 15 ward on Fire, Cold, and Lightning hits from 10. I don't know what that meant. But overall, almost no changes here. At least Paladin Hammer Nova is fine in 600s. You get a safe net. There you go. Yeah, almost no changes. You get a little bit less ward. Especially from Edict of Scion. But not enough to, like, make that much of a difference. Rogue, Evasion grants 4% less damage taken while moving from 5. So that was 25, now it is 20. So Rogue got a defensive nerf there. Juggernaut grants 4% fire and void res per point from 3. Sentinel, the tiniest of buffs. Like, truly the tiniest of buffs that they could have possibly done. You don't really care that... I mean, void res is easy to cap on Sentinel already. So, GG, I guess. Uniques. Item changes overall, starting with uniques. We have the 13 new uniques. Wheel of Torment, Unvar's Rise, Unvar's Hegemony. Or is that Hegemony? I can't remember. Unvar's Exile, Communion of the Erased, Stygian Coal, Stygian's Reprisal, not Stygian, Stygian's. Spine of Malatros, Vial of Volatile Ice, Blood Roost, Falcon Fists, Talons of Valor, and Wraith Lord's Harbor. Wait a second. Wait a sec. Whoops, too far. Where'd it go? Shit. Wait. I've seen that before. I've seen that name. I've seen that name somewhere. Wait a second. Related? Hopper. It looks like it made it in. Shit, where'd I go? I'll leave it. There we go. Back to 100. There it is. All right, so it did make it in. Seems like a strange thing. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Unique and set item changes. Aaron's Will. Base type remains Revenant Plate, causing it to gain 100 armor and 3 to 6% of max health gains endurance threshold, but lose 11 to 50% endurance, okay? Aberrant Call. The increased minion damage mod is now just affects minion melee damage. Now also grants 13 to 35% increased minion move speed and has an effective level for legendary potential of 38 from 10. A lot of nerfs. You updated already on this? No. Okay, so they want it for more. Okay, so this is a Flame Wraith nerf. Yeah, it's a Flame Wraith nerf. Because Flame Wraith is not minions, so you lose the minion damage. And the you know, the LPL makes some difference. Fully plays the game that EHG was able to collab. Yeah, it is for sure. Okay, so nerf for Flame Wraiths, I still don't think it makes that much of a difference. The minion damage was definitely nice on it, but the Flame Wraith nerfs and the Dreadshades nerfs, it's definitely going to do less damage. I don't know if it's going to do that much less damage. Remember, this thing's doing like 20 times the damage it should. So even if they cut it in half with these changes, it's still at 10 times the damage it should. Arrow Guard grants 15 to 30% glancing blow chance from 30 to 50. Nerf. Grants 3 to 5 health gain when you receive a glancing blow from 30 to 50% increased armor. Huge nerf. No one gives a shit about this. Grants 50 to 100 armor from 30 to 50. Not going to make up for this. Has an effective level for legendary potential of 60 from 40 nerf. So Arrow Guard got nerfed pretty hard. So all of you marksmen out there that were looking for this one thing to help you actually have defense, sorry. Not today. Artor's Legacy. Base type changed from Horn Cowl with 54 armor and increased health and mana regen to Ice Wolf Pelt, 84 armor, Cold Res, and Freeze Rate multi. And it grants 1 to 2 to all minions skills. Why they hate Arrow Guard? Don't you know marksmen aren't supposed to survive? Bleeding Heart, we haven't gotten there yet. Battle Mage's Endeavor has an effective level for legendary potential from 20 to from 30. That makes no difference. It's a shitty item. Bleeding Heart now goes to 40 from 0, which is probably what it should be, because 0 was ridiculous on an item that was so powerful. Needs to be changed to Dead Heart. No, I don't think it really changes it all that much, to be honest with you. Like, it does change it because you can't get a 4 LP, but it's still a strong item for anyone who needed that source for leech. Will be made to current gear? Yes. Box of Hydra. Reduced max increase area to 63 from 81. Reduced max cast rate to 36 from 54. Increased max ward decay threshold to 108 from 90. So they really are trying to hit Hydrahedron. I don't know it's going to make a difference. Like, ultimately, it will make a difference. It will always make a difference, but if it will actually change, like, how powerful it is compared to other builds. It's a Quiver, Dread, and Steel we're going to use for the net build. Oops. Calamity has an effective level for legendary potential of 40 from 0. Sag, that was a really fun leveling legendary. Sag, they decided no longer. Cleaver's Solution has an effective level for legendary potential 50 from 27. So this does affect low life builds, because it'll be a lot harder for you to get double LPs and way harder to get triple LPs if even possible. Death Rattle now grants 35 to 65 minion crit multi from 50 to 100. And now grants 1 to 3 levels to sacrifice from 1. So another minion nerf there. They're coming for you Wraith players? They really are, huh? Eliko's Abandon. Base type change from Scalebane Coat with armor, poison res, and increased damage over time to Wormhide Coat. Armor, increased dodge, and increased damage over time. Effective legendary potential of 40 from 55. Which one is this? I don't even remember this thing. Oh, it's the Acid Flask one, okay. Okay. Rip Rays? I still think they're S tier. I'm telling you guys, I still think they're S tier. LL gets buffed? What? What do you mean? Oh, Exsanguinous has a effective legendary potential of 35 from 40. So, weird. Cleaver Solution, harder to get LP on. Exsanguinous, easier to get LP on. Careless Scurry, base type change from Ancestral Helm to Tusk Great Helm, resulting in no change in stats. Hive Mind, lost 7 armor and 1 to 6% poison resist due to the reduction of stats on its base type, Leather Mask, and grants a little bit more health. Grimod's Cage, base type change from Nomad Garb with armor and health regen to Beast Mail with armor, move speed, and health. Okay. Legacy of the Quiet Forest. This is quiet for me's One of his 2 uniques. It's now a Nomad belt from Bronze Belt. Grants 90 to 245 armor from 30 to 140, 145. That is a buff for sure. Net result is that it gains 1 more potion slot and 10 minimum armor. Its maximum armor is not changed. What? The loss of implicit art. What? Oh, okay. So this is the affix, and then Nomad belt has less armor. Okay, okay. Void Knight nerfs? Did I miss it? Mad Alchemist ladle. It's not legal, it's not label, it's ladle. Grants 6% more spell damage per negative ailment from 8 up to 8. So a nerf to it. I don't know if it's enough. Level change is good. You gotta put it to 5%, honestly. Nightbringer grants 54 to 85 bow void at low health from up to 64. Its LP effective legendary potential level is lower, which is better. Bagel? Mad Alchemist bagel. I don't know if I would eat that. Omen of Thunder is now a Nomad belt from Bronze, means it has 1 potion slot and lost armor. Effect now grants spell damage to existing totems. Stop taking my armor. Like a level for legendary potential is a level you need to equip. No. Also impacts how hard it is to get. Does not affect the level you need to equip. Those are independent, although oftentimes they're the same number if they don't feel like there's much of a difference. But it only affects the likelihood it will have legendary potential and how much it will have. Like how likely it is to get 1 and then 2, then 3, then 4. The things that are higher will not only, it's harder to get any, but it's way harder to get the better ones. Paranoia, base type changed from Dawn Helm with 400 armor to Full Helm with 95. Damn. Now also grants 7 to 13% less damage taken while moving. Well, that's nice. That makes up for it mostly. Any way to target farm Aberrant's Call? That's just a world drop, right? So you have to find the right timeline, or you have to use Rune of Ascendance on it. I believe that one's a world drop. Pillager's Gold is an effective level for legendary potential of 15 from 35. I still want to try this. I don't think it's going to be very good, but it looks like a lot of fun. Renegade's Will grants 3 to 5 to Vengeance from 3. There's an effective LPL of 10. This maybe, could actually get some play with Healing Hands now. Sacrificial Embrace now gains 28 to 58% chance to gain a stack of Abyssal Rite on crit from 20 to 28, and now has plus 14 void spell damage and 14% void pen per stack from 10%. I think this is still a no-go. It turns off crit on a hit build. Good luck making up for that, no matter what you do to it, unless you go insane numbers. Sanguine Horde grants 25% increased attack speed from 20, has effective LPL of 20 from 30. I like it when there's lower effective legendary potential, because it's already crazy high on a lot of these to get like 3 and 4s. We'll see how it goes, if it makes a big difference, especially with the factions. Shadow Beacon grants 1 to 2 to void skills from 1, and also minus 10 to minus 5 Erasing Strike mana cost. Well, it's still Erasing Strike, so that sucks. They nerfed the Lagan boss. No, why would they do that? I mean, the only thing they should be nerfing on that is the damage reduction it gets in the second phase. Have they ever officially published effective LP levels like this? You know that data mine info we have on that is accurate, but you don't recall EHG ever sharing. I'm not sure. Yeah, no, I think they did. Yeah, I think they would show it. They wouldn't like give you like a full database of it, but they would tell you when they like changed it and by how much. Sunforged Great Helm. Base type changed from Dawn Helm to Solarum Great Helm, which, well, no one uses this helmet, but it gives you less armor and it gives you endurance threshold and fire damage. Sunforged Cuirass. Looks like it had a similar effect in its change. And then it gives fire damage per forged weapon, slightly higher. Sun Wreath has a lower effective legendary potential. This is actually used on flame rebuilds. Oops. What the heck? What just happened? All right. Oh, okay. Anyway. The Falcon. This is the like level 1 body armor that you can make really seriously cool leveling items out of. Renamed to the Kestrel to avoid any confusion with a Falcon minion. We did the same sort of thing when we renamed the Monolith unique shield to the Slab. Hey, Catfish! Thanks for the sub, man. Good to see you. It's super hard. No, it's not super hard. We skip it because it's annoying and it's an easy place to skip, but it's not hard. You just have to learn it. Where was I? No longer grants 15% increased movement speed if you have hit an enemy in the last 5 seconds. Instead, it grants 7% increased movement speed and 45% chance to gain haste on hit. That's awesome. It does mean that it clashes with Quicksilver Coil, but that means you can just wear 2 of the Arboreal Circuits and like you're off to the races. That's a buff. Grants 15 to 30% increased haste effect. I mean, that's a buff, man. And +1 to dexterity skills. Love it. I love that. That's going to be an awesome leveling item. It's already really good. It's kind of a joke if we just get max lightning and cold res. Or if you just learn to fight and don't stand the beam, basically. Big campaign zooming, hell yeah. Chiraka's Teeth grants up to 90% frostbite chance of bow hit from 40. And 90 freeze rate with puncture from 60. And has a lower effective LPL. So it's a straight up buff on everything. I don't know if it's enough to make a difference. This one could make a difference. Twisted Heart of Ukairos. Both current health to ward conversion mobs are now 5 to 8 from 10 to 13. Those bastards. This was insanely OP, along with like most ward setups. Will 8% instead of 13% be enough to kill it? I don't think so. Obviously, it'll be a lot less though. Velatria's Storm Crown. This is the Meteor set. Base type changed from Gilded Crown. 36 armor and 42% increased elemental damage to Weathered Crown, 14 armor and increased spell damage of 34. No difference there either. The intelligence granted is almost no difference. Same with Lightning Pen. Almost no changes there. Zuriel's Hunt triggered effect grants up to 92% Lightning Pen from 62. And this is the quiver. LPL went down as well. Let's see. Yeah, use a lightning bow attack, your next throwing attack. Your throwing attack, next bow attack, gives you stuff. That's a tough sell, man. It's still a tough sell. You gotta do like bow, throw, bow, throw, bow, throw, bow, throw. No one wants to do that, so I don't know about this one. The only thing I could think of it for is like a really, one of these goes on cooldown and you set it up with a generator of the other one. And then blast it. But you have to literally do it one time for it to be useful. Base items. All classes. Added many new faction-themed items that players can buy from faction gamblers for favor. We know about this. Added 4 new endgame caches containing rare and exalted versions of all the base types of each faction. Renamed the non-class specific Forest Guard base type to Forest Cuirass to avoid confusion with the primal specific Forest Guard base type. Okay. Item level requirements from affixes is now capped at 90. It's only possible to exceed with many high-tier affixes and a high-tier seal affix. So they're thinking maybe you might do that. It was theoretically possible for an item to require level 101 by sealing a tier 7 experimental affix on an item with 3 other tier 7 affixes and crafting a tier 5. Literally making it impossible to wear. Uniques and base items types can still have a level requirement above 90. Just not from crafting. Belts. Leather belt requires level 9 from 14. Plated belt grants 65 armor at the top end from 100. Noble sash grants up to 32 mana from 20 and requires level 14 from 32. Bronze belt has been replaced by the chain belt, which grants 75 ward decay threshold at the top end and 4 potion slots and requires level 31. That is not much ward decay threshold. That's kind of sad. Ranger's belt has been renamed to Nomad belt and requires level 45 from 60. Added Spider Silk Sash, which grants up to 47% poison and cold res and 4 potion slots. Now you can get res as a base type on a belt. Poison and cold. Added Praetorian Belt, which grants up to 250 armor and 4 potion slots. That is significantly more than the 100 armor that you could get on the previous best belt. Added Osprey Belt, which grants 6 potion slots. And that's it. Added Divine Girdle, which grants up to 8% increased movement speed and 4 potion slots. Nerfs to flat armor values across the board on bases. or was it? In the end. Was it a nerf? Or was it a 2.5 times multiplier? Well, 1.5 times multiplier, I guess. It just depends on which belt you got. Still got you with the blessing nerfs. They did get the blessing nerfs on that, but maybe we're not done with the armor. Let's see. We have a belt and armor that grants move speed now. Yeah, you can go really fast, even faster now. Go super, super fast. Boots, updated the icons for worn boots, leather boots, iron greaves, outcast boots, arcane boots, and shrine boots. Hide boots grant up to 7% increased move speed from up to 7, but slightly lower on the low end. Arcane boots grant up to 230 ward decay threshold from 15% ward retention. The ward retention on these was low enough where this might actually be a buff. It might actually be worth it on ward builds. We'll see. Added a new boots base type Vanguard, which grants 72 armor, 18% move speed at the top end, and 50% increased effective haste on you. Now these look pretty insane because 50% increased effective haste is 15% move speed. We have been nerfed. Added a new boots base type Citadel boots, which grants 185 armor. It's a lot. 18% move speed and 50% reduced bonus damage from crits. That's half of your reduced bonus damage from crits you need in one slot. You wore these, and then you were a rune master and took that node that gave you 48. You take 2% more bonus damage from crits, and you're done. Like, you don't care anymore. Increase the patch notes length from 12 pages to 90 pages. This is a buff. Got your previous statement about armor nerfs and bases. Hadn't seen every section yet. Yeah. They got you the first half, didn't they? Gloves. Updated the icons for Outcast gloves and Solarum bracers. Male bracers grant 32 armor from 30. Solarum bracers grant 45 armor from 30. Don't need crit avoidance with that? No, you wouldn't need crit avoidance at all at that point. Double gloves grant 28 armor from 32 and up to 14% increased mana regen from 3 to 10 increased cast speed. It's meh. Added new gloves base type arcane bracers, which grant 36 armor, up to 36 mana, and up to 24% increased mana regen. Requires level 54. There are some builds I could see using these for the mana as well. It's a decent amount of mana. Added new gloves base type ascetic gloves, which grants 58 armor and up to 12% increased cooldown recovery speed. Not a lot of cooldown recovery speed on this, honestly. 12% is not much. Added a new gloves base type eternal gauntlets, which grants 211 armor and up to 24% of armor mitigation applies to damage over time and requires level 86. Now this is kind of sexy. It's a big amount of armor and 24% of armor mitigation applies to damage over time, which isn't a ton by itself, but now you can start to stack like 2 or 3 of these affixes and get almost all of it applying to damage over time. And all of a sudden, now you're getting kind of tanky against damage over time, especially bleeds. Don't trust him, it's trash now. Rings. Only one change. Ivory ring grants up to 130% ward decay threshold instead of 26% ward retention. This be a nerf. Hundo %, this be a nerf. So especially low life setups. Really anything that generates ward, this is a nerf. Weapons. Dawnblade now has plus 54 melee damage from 48. You're probably still not going to use it, but nice. Nagasa Scimitar now has up to 65 increased damage over time from 56. Crystal Sword now has slightly less increased attack speed for some reason. Katana now has 53% crit strike multi from 60. That is negligible difference. Serpent Mace now has 75% poison res from 43. That's a lot of res, but are you really going to put it on your weapon over like an offensive thing? I don't know. Briss as well? No! Chitin Dagger now has up to 80% poison chance from 60. Briss now has up to 60%, 65% crit multi from 80. Yeah, it's a nerf, but I'm still going to wear them. Jade Cleaver now has 110 melee damage from 105. Dragon Blade Axe now has up to 14 minion melee damage from the 10 minion melee physical damage. That's definitely a buff, especially if you're doing non-fizz. Serpent Bow now has 70% poison chance at the top end from 60. Ornate Wand now has 61, up from 51. Skeletal Scepter now has 75 increased minion damage from 65. All minor buffs. Bow Affix Changes now has 75% affix effect modifier from 60. This is a buff to bows. So all like bow affixes are going to be stronger now. That's cool. The crit chance and bow attack speed now has 75% affix effect modifier from 60. Wouldn't that apply with the last one? I don't get it. But yeah. Are the minion necro builds still good? Are good on mobile and can't catch the patch notes? Yeah, they're good. Decay threshold is you have minimum ward of X. Yes, correct. Was someone asking what the difference is? Oh, they're replacing it? Yeah, no, it's not replacing it. Yeah, so ward decay threshold just says, like, if you, like, say you're decaying it and you reach your 300 ward decay threshold, it just stops. It also means that decay doesn't start until that point, so, like, it pushes it up before it starts decaying. If the number is high enough, it'll be a wash with ward retention. On those rings, it won't be, though, because those rings hit a lot of ward retention. Class items. Acolyte body armor. Replace Coven Garb, armor and mana, with Heretic Garb, which grants 23 armor and requires level 1. Added a new Acolyte body armor, Initiate Robes, which grants 26 armor and up to 26 mana. And requires level 4. Ribbed Cuirass grants 79 armor from 131. Requires level 12. So it lost a lot of armor, but it also dropped, like, where it, like, is. It's a lot lower level of an armor. Witch robes, not witch robes. Witch robes grant 53 armor from 31 and up to 13% increased cast speed, which it also could get before, but it had a higher roll range and requires 29 for 14. Heretic robes are replaced. They had armor and mana regen with Fiend robes, which grant 96 armor and 36% up to 36% fire res and require 27. A little bit of fire res there. Added a new body armor, Coven Robes, which grants 83 armor, up to 15% increased cast speed, and 29% increased mana regen. Burial Plate grants 257 armor from 157. That's a big difference. 39% cold res from 47, and up to 139 stun avoidance, and requires 53. That's a buff. Stun avoidance is whatever, but the rest of it's good. Profane Regalia grants 191 armor from 116, and 61% increased crit chance and minion crit chance, from up to 2% health leech and minion health leech, and requires level 61. The big difference on that, like, instead of doing leech, is doing crit. Very interesting. Revenant Plate grants 279 armor, another 100 on top of what it was. Up to 6% of max health gains endurance threshold from 15% endurance, and requires 66. Hey, Bloodlord! 13 months, man. Thanks. Appreciate it, man. Added a new Acolyte body armor, Necropolis Plate, which grants 179 armor, 179 ward decay threshold at the top end, and up to 19 ward on kill. Immortal Regalia grants 213 armor from 149. Added a new Acolyte body armor, Sanguine Regalia, which grants 261 armor, up to 2% health leech, and up to 2% mini health. So that's where the leech went to. Leech went to this higher level one. Do I have a build guide for my Falconer Shadow Dagger? Yes, it's going to come out sometime today. We're just coordinating that stuff right now. All right, Acolyte helmets. Outcast Cage grants 6 armor from 7. Bone Mask requires level 3. Skull Cage grants up to 3 spell damage from increased spell damage. Death Mask grants 61 armor from 91, so that just dropped down to a lower level thing to make room for all the other ones. I wonder how having this many bases is going to affect how the game feels in the late game. Like, is it going to get too crowded and too hard to find stuff? Boardman and friends, welcome everybody. Outcast Cage now unplayable. Added a new Acolyte helmet, Witch Hat, which grants 26 armor, 19% increased mana regen at the top end. Replaced Heretic Cowl, armor, crit chance, and minion crit chance with Fiend Cowl, which grants armor, necrotic resist, and requires level 29. What's up, guys? Welcome. Added a new Acolyte helmet, Coven Hat, which grants 66 armor, up to 33 mana, and up to 33% increased mana regen. It's a decent bit of mana regen that early in the game. Burial Mask grants 151 armor and up to 15% endurance, from 51% ward retention. Well, that's big Sag for any ward build, that's for sure. Unless you're going to put it later. Profane Helm has been renamed to Profane Crown, grants more armor, about, what, 50 more? 40 more, and requires level 60 from 66. Revenant Mask grants 163 armor from 103, so 60 more. 16% endurance at the top end, from up to 15 minion spell damage, and 16% reduced bonus damage taken from crits. That's a very low number on the reduced bonus damage taken from crits. I don't know all the places Acolyte can get that source, but that one doesn't feel like it moves the needle all that much. Added a new Acolyte helm, Necropolis helm, which grants 143 armor, up to 173 ward decay threshold, the 17 ward and kill. So we lost. Where'd it go? We lost the big ward retention and gained a kind of meh ward decay threshold. Then Immortal Crown grants 137 armor for 117. Okay. This game is going to blow up. You see so many PoE and Lost Ark hunted creators. Watch live streaming. Even Captain Lance is streaming. Servers are going to be on fire Wednesday. Yeah, they might be. We'll see. Poor server hamsters. Yeah, they're going to be going real fast. Like real fast. All right, let's look at the mage body armor. Traveling coat grants more armor, less armor, excuse me. Adept grants more armor. Added a new mage armor, body armor. Keeper raiment grants armor, mana regen. Not much though. Added new mage body armor, archive robes. Grants armor, void resistance. Interesting, mage body armor, void resistance. Not very thematic, at least historically for the mage. It's never really had any void support. Temple garb grants 48 armor and up to 60 ward decay threshold from 18% increased mana regen. Requires 21. 60 ward decay threshold at level 21 is not too bad. Like a low level thing. Lunar raiments grants cold and lightning res from Ellie res, but grants a lot more. Yeah, it's kind of a wash. Opulent robes grant 24% increased mana regen at top end from cast speed. Mystic plate grants a lot more armor. 324 armor is a lot on mage. Celestial raiment grants slightly less armor, and that's it. Valkar regalia grants 127 ward decay threshold from 27 ward retention. Why? Well, that's so bad. That's so bad. Is there anything else on that item? That's really... If that's all on that is trash. Let me see. Volcar regalia. Let me look that one up. That'd be so bad. It had mana spent gained as ward. So yeah, that's a massive nerf to it. All the NPC dudes fighting the void are mages. That's probably the theme. I mean, it could be, but it never has been. They've never had anything void resistance support, anything like that before. How they're going to manage it? Their top player count has been, what, 19k? No, they've been over 40k before, but still, it's going to be a lot more. They're going to be over 200k, I think, pretty easily. Getting rid of ward retention? No, they're just trying to, like, bring it back a bit, I think, with this ward decay threshold, or ward, yeah, decay threshold thing. Do I think COF is overpowered than trade? I don't. Sounds like they're just trying to make it hard to get. Yeah, I think so. And then Arcane Regalia grants 40% increased mana regen and requires level 87. So it's slightly more mana regen. All right, mage helmets. Not a lot's changed at the front end. We're gonna go down to the actual meaningful stuff. Increased spell damage over mana. For a low level thing, that makes sense. Ward per second on a 22 helm is fine. It's actually kind of powerful early game, especially if you have even a bit of intelligence. Lunar helm, more armor, mana regen from ward per second. Removed it, just removed that item, okay. More armor on Mystic Helm, and that's it. Celestial Helm grants less armor. It just shows up earlier. Ruined Visage grants slightly more armor and mana spent gained as ward. Slightly higher. Slightly higher mana. Okay, not much there. Then Tyrant Crown's new. Decent armor. And elemental damage leeches health. This one's meaningful. The 3% elemental damage leeches health on non-ward builds could be enough. That could be like all you need. So that could be a really valuable helm if we aren't in a total ward meta, which, well, we seem to be. Arcane Visage grants the 15% increased cooldown recovery speed from 14, almost no difference. Same thing with the mana. Okay, not much difference there. 500k? Well, that'd be something if it was up to 500k concurrent. Primalist body armor now. Let's see, what do we got that are meaningful changes? Meaningful changes, let's look for those. Health regen early game is good. Over attunement on the Forest Garb. Endurance at level 22 is okay on the armor, or on the chitin carapace. Increased cold damage on the Ice Wolf garb is extra, so that's good. Nomad garb is replaced with a new one that has attunement and increased minion damage. Wild armor was replaced as well. That gave armor move speed with big armor and stun avoidance, Sag. Then Greatwood coat. Let's see. Grants spell damage and minion spell damage. Not too bad. This is not very classical music to me. Not a bad song. I just don't feel like this is very classical. It's kind of epic though, so I guess it counts. Added new Primalist body armor Beastmail. This is 156 armor, increased movement speed, and health regen. So this is like your speed armor. Primalist helmets. Let's see, anything big here. Stun chance at level 3. Interesting. Health regen and mana regen on the Forest Cowl instead of the poison res. It was a low enough level thing that poison didn't matter too much, so I guess that's okay. It's bad stats though. 16% health regen. Isn't doing much. Epidemic's a gamble if you choose a genre. So it would seem. So it would seem. Bach would be amazing right now. True. Titan Helm is new. There's the poison res back at 21. Okay, so they still have it. Replaced Horn Cowl. It's the health regen. Mana regen just got like pushed somewhere else. With a Raptor Helm. Hopefully it looks really cool because it should. Crit chance and minion crit chance. That one's going to be potentially really valuable for builds that struggle to get added crit chance, especially minion builds. Kolheim Cowl gives more fire res. Maruna Helm is a new one that gives big armor and lightning res. Ancestral Crown gives endurance instead of increased health, and up to 10% of max health gains endurance threshold instead of leech. That'd be interesting on a druid, which can get what? Another 15? So now you're at 45, is that right? You get the 20, the 15 you're at 35, and then that 10 you're at 45. Max health gains endurance threshold, so 45% of your health bar can be covered by 60% damage reduction. Starting to get somewhere with that. A new Primalist helmet, Tusk Great Helm, which is Ancestor Crown's previous stats. Okay. This game, like PoE in the sense that the skill tooltips mean nothing? No. Wait, well, if you mean like the numbers that you see, then yeah, they mean nothing. Like if you're like looking at Warpath and you see it says like 7,000 damage per second, don't bother with that number. It doesn't do anything. Rogue body armor. This will affect us at 1.0. The leather halberd is just a level 1 armor now. Bandit garb is barely changed. New one, Grolhide coat grants armor and increased mana regen at level 11. Could have some value. Early game. Outcast coat gives necrotic res instead of increased mana regen. Right around the time when you're gonna be in that area. Maybe a little too late. A little too late actually. Sag. That could have been good. Brigandine armor. It's 105 armor from 204. This got dropped down, yeah, big time. Gives the Fizz res at level 27. That actually has some value at 27 for sure. Boiled leather is replaced with Umbral coat, which gives good armor and increased damage with skills used by shadows. Does not affect the build that we're going to be playing. If you want to compare two items quickly, as long as you know what you're doing, if you don't know what you're doing and you're comparing one with armor shred and one without, you're gonna get screwed. Nice resistance buffs for campaign, yeah. Scaled main coat grants more armor and more poison res, slightly more, and cold res. Save damage over time. That's nice. I like that one. Around level 54, it's okay because it's gonna be good for like when you get into the Lagan timeline. New rogue body armor. Elite regalia. Good armor, endurance, and mana regen. That's okay. Armor, falconry armor. Grants more armor, dexterity, and melee and throwing damage for your falcon. I mean, that looks really strong for falcon steps. Up to 24 melee and throwing damage for your falcon. That looks really strong. Along with dexterity. Another new one, Wormhide Coat. Grants armor, increased dodge rating up to 50. Increased damage over time. See that one get in play. Dragonhide Coat, another new one. 38% crit avoidance. And 3% crit chance. That's got a strong chance of being best in a lot of them, because now you can open up a ring slot. Gargan Scale Coat. Wait, how much armor does it have? 180? How much does the Fizz one have? 105. Yeah, that's slightly better. Gargan Scale Coat grants 255 armor, glancing below 15% chance, and 45% lightning res. That one might get a lot of play. That one might get a lot of play. All right, 1 minute break. Be right back. All right, back at it. They fixed Armageddon Black Hole. I haven't gotten that far. Rogue helmets, not Black Hole. Skeleton Mask has been replaced with Horned Helm. Grants Fizz res and increased physical damage at level 28. You're slow. Umbral Hood is new. Stun avoidance, garbage. Exile Hat grants armor. That's it? That can't be it. Wait, no, there's more on that. There's definitely more on that. You left for 30 minutes, came back, still past me? Yeah, you're not trying to read to an audience. Explain things to them. Gotta milk the viewer hours? I don't have a ton of hours to milk, to be honest with you. What's this bow and throwing damage? I don't know that you don't have an audience. I mean, maybe you've got like a cousin there or something you're telling about it. Oh, interesting. So there's I can't give you guys a lot of details. There's something kind of big happening today. And so we're not going to be pushing out the max roll stuff for a bit. Means I need to make sure these are not scheduled to come off anytime soon. I'm going to push these back. This is true of all media outlets. I don't think I can tell you guys what's going on yet. I'm actually not sure if they've had a announcement, but just so you know, it's going to be a bit before Maxwell can do their stuff. It's not us, it's we were asked not to yet. Which means we don't have to worry too much about time right now. Show you the new uniques? Not. Only one EU server? How are they planning to launch? Well, do you know they only have one EU server? Have they mentioned this yet? They have not. Okay, I can't tell you yet. Yeah, they do. We don't know that they're only gonna have one user for them. Classical playlist slaps, right? This is very classical. When is it lifted? It just got... In some ways it's been lifted, in some ways it has been kind of extended. You're just not going to get the media stuff yet. This is going to be across the board for all medias. There's a reason for it. They haven't announced it, so I can't tell you. It's pretty cool, though. Okay, where was I? Let's see. Scale Bane Grimace now gives you Poison, Fire Res, and no Leech. That's sad. Umbral Visage with Pinnacle Helm. Oh, he's been replaced with Pinnacle Helm. Grants Leech. Okay, then come back. Good. Falconry Helm gives you Dexterity and melee throwing damage. Well, that's like 48 or something like that, just off of like the body armor and the helmet for your Falcon. That's a lot of added damage. Subs for leaks. I wish, man. I am playing Shadow Dagger Falconer on launch. It is not bad news, no. Let's see. Blood Visage is new. 95% increased damage over time and bleed duration. And then we have Dragon Visage, Fire Res, and Crit Multi. I like Crit Multi. Gargan Scale Coif is giving more stun chance. Dagger Burb, nope, that's not been approved. Sorry, it's not my job to approve it, but it hasn't been approved. Sentinel Body Armor. There's a new one that's just 50 armor. Okay, nothing big. Is there 2 level 1s now? That's weird. An LE tool analogous to Path of Building. Not quite the same, but there are a couple of planners. At least for now. I haven't even shown my boss the poll. He hasn't been here. He hasn't joined us for me to ask him. Somebody you know pronounces Coif as Queef. Yeah. That's... Now on YouTube. Where was I? Physical res on the Sentinel body armor at level 29. Noble plate gives extra lightning res. Myrmidon plate gives the same crit chance practically. Slightly different and more armor. Okay. Augury plate. Better mana regen, but not by much. Solarum plate. Gives a lot more fire damage increase. And a lot more armor. Wow, 420. Blaze it. Do you think they did it on purpose? You approve this pronunciation? Do you think they intentionally gave Solarum plate 420 armor? They're like, we could do 410. But we're going to do 420. I mean, it's a very specific number to choose. You mentioned the campaign being harder after patch. Do you reckon it will be much different for people to go Act 5 than skip to Monolith? Maybe. We're going to find out, because I'm going to do it anyway. We'll see how bad it is. You think it was on purpose? Add a new Sentinel body armor. Champion Regala grants 700 armor, and 17% of armor mitigation applies to damage over time. Is the car here? Nice. All the other jokes they have in the game for skill nodes, names, and whatnot, you'd say 100% yes. You're gonna do it too? Yeah, we'll find out together whether it works or not. Oh, I skipped one, didn't I? I skipped Dawn Play, which gives 130% increased echo damage, but also might give 13. It's a massive difference. And then it gives some stat no one cares about. This is crazy though. 17 armor mitigation, 700 armor. You add this with the gloves and then like an experimental effects, and all of a sudden you're rolling. Pogla's play looks pretty cool. If you get the high number on it, it does. If you get 13, you're just mad. I mean, you can try to roll out of it. There is stun in this game? There is. Sentinel helmets. A new one that gives fire res at level 6. Actually useful at level 6. A lot of fire stuff there. Maybe a little too late, but kind of useful. Everything seems like a little too late to actually be valuable. Iron Visor Grants increased stun chance. Spiked helm is new. Gives physical resistance and increased phys damage. That's 27. That's not too bad. 13% guaranteed to have LP. Seems like we're going to be adjusting and adding a lot more things to hide and loot filters. Yes. It's going to be part of my day tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to it. Let's see. Augury Helm gets more armor. It gets CDR. Almost no change there. It does get a lot more Void Rents, which is like the least meaningful stat you could possibly get in Implicit Sentinel, because they can literally cap their Void Res in their passive tree easily and without any real downside, because it gives you other stats as well. But whatever. Dawn Helm is replaced with Solarum Great Helm, which grants decent armor and crappy endurance threshold and decent fire damage. Solarum Helm has been replaced with Terror Crown, which is a cool name, which gives decent armor, decent vitality, and more increased echo damage. Another 13 to 130 roll, which is... Why is that so crazy? That's such a crazy difference. A new Sentinel Helm, Leonine Great Helm, grants a bunch of armor, 550, and up to 85% reduced bonus damage taken from crits. Wow. That is so much. So if you wore this and the Champion Regalia, that's 1250 armor with no increases on its own. 17 armor mitigation applies damage over time, and most of the crit damage you would take is just gone. Those are crazy. All right, new weapon affixes. We heard a little bit about these, didn't we? We've got hybrid damage type pen and minion damage type pen for physical. Fire, cold, lightning, void, necrotic, and poison. Does it save as a prefix or a suffix? It doesn't. So your damage and then your minion's damage. Make Sentinel tanky again. The parry chance, but not on wands, scepters, or bows. I can't parry with my wand or my bow? What? Sag. Actually, scepter should be able to parry. Hybrid mana, just like thematically. Hybrid mana and mana regen on weapons. If Harry Potter can do it, true. Minion damage suffixes have been changed to grant added damage. So now it's hybrid X minion melee and X minion spell, X minion melee and X minion bow, and X minion spell and X minion bow. Legolas would have parried with the bow. True, true, true. I think we got ripped off there. New Acolyte affixes. Level of Thonic Fissure and level of Aeos Bolts and level of Ghost Flame and level of Profane Veil. Chance for 3 additional projectiles when you directly cast Aeos Bolts. It is not Thonic Fissure. Wait, it is Thonic Fissure. Yeah, it is. Wait, it is Thonic Fissure. That's what I said. Yeah, it's Thonic Fissure. My bad. Or level of Asbolt. Boromir would have parried with his horn. True. It is Thonic Fissure. And it's Aeos Bolt. Here.
Phonic. Phonic. Phonic.
And so if that's Thonic and the CH is silent, then it must be here too. I mean, that's just logical. So this is Aeos Bolt. Where was I? Add spell damage for curses. Increase spirit frequency with Thonic Fissure. Add spell damage for curses. Already said that. Ward per second while channeling Ghost Flame. Mana efficiency with Ghost Flame. Increased duration with Profane Veil. Mana efficiency with Soul Feast and chance to wither on hit with Soul Feast. Ward per second during Profane Veil. Increased cast speed while cursed. Increased damage over time while you have an ailment overload. Chair is air. Exactly. You guys are catching on. Maybe that's not how English works. It's exactly how English works. New Primalist affixes. Level of Gathering Storm. which is this new skill. Chance to gain a storm stack when you use Gathering Storm and hit an enemy. Less frequency of expending storm stacks and added spell damage for Storm Bolt. Increased frequency of expending storm stacks. Rogue has got a good number here. Level of Falconry, Dive Bomb, Explosive Trap, Aerial Assault, and Net. Increased damage in area with Dive Bomb. Added throwing damage with Caltrops. Chance to apply crit vuln on hit with Caltrops. Additional max traps with Explosive Trap. A lot of trap. And increased throwing attack speed. Chance to deal double damage with Falcon Strikes. Percentage of your bleed chance and poison chance granted to your Falcon. Crit multi and minion crit multi. Increased area for throwing skills. And increased area with Caltrops. And chance to shred armor on hit with Caltrops. Poor Sentinel got one. But it's a good one. Level of Healing Hands. Very good. Enemy changes. New or replaced enemies in Chapter 3. All Void cultists are changed except for a few mini-bosses. All Void-fused bears are now consumed Grolls. Sag, the bears were cute. Grolls are cute too, though. Updated weather statue model and abilities. Was that the big one that, like, didn't do anything, basically? Replaced ruins scuttlers with cockroaches. Did you guys want cockroaches in your game? Because now you have cockroaches in your game. Replace bloated husks and decayed husks with sprouting husks. Patch notes, you see all the names of the new uniques they didn't reveal yesterday, but you can't see what they do. Correct. Yeah, they like to make you wait. I think they believe you're going to wait until it drops for you, when the reality is you're just going to go to one of the sites that has a database and look it up as soon as they update. So, it is what it is. Chapter 4. Imperial Hoplites are rebalanced and moved to Imperial Thatima. Removed Flame Remnants and Storm Remnants, which still spawn in Endgame. Those guys are rough. Added Zombie Hounds. Wraithlord's Harbor is out. What does it mean? What does it mean? Something strange. It's a strange thing. Where was I? Mortal Hunters are added. Bone Sculptors are hunted. War Tombs. Did I say Bone Sculptors are hunted? Bone Sculptors are added. War Tombs are added. Removed Bone Cairns. They still spawn in Endgame. Will be re-added elsewhere in the future. Added Inquisitor, Captain Nerva, and Praetor Tyrannus, and Headhunter Lavian. Sirenus the Accuser. Added the Storm Cage. So these are all like mini bosses. The problem with mini bosses, the stats are out. Wait, where? You have it? Where was I? Yeah, so these mini bosses don't do anything. Like, you just skip them and there's no loss to it. They should drop something cool or something. Removed avian chimeras, feline chimeras, and avialine chimeras. Removed occultists, wraithbinders, and added imperial mariners, navigators, swamp fiends, lightning wraiths. Replaced necromancers crows with drowned ravens. Volka's Discord as a pick? Interesting. Where was I? Chapter 5. Updated giant scorpions, added crimson scorpions, added sand scorpions, lots of enemies, yeah. Removed blood scorpions, jeweled scuttlers, and jeweled spitters. Removed sapphirals, added undead hydras, updated drowned husks, updated dune wraiths. They don't spawn endlessly, yay! Added blood gorgons, added mummified nagasa, added titan leeches, added leech slayers, added Xerx's hands, added desiccated corpses, soul binders, transfusion caskets. I don't know if they're added or removed or what, but just transfusion caskets. Added Immortal Firebrand, the Bone Furnace, Venator Elos, the Stygian Warden, and Praetor Bellarta. You can go AFK on the Dune Wraith, won't murder you. Yes. Chapter 6, not as much stuff. Added Imperial Deadeyes, Sewer Dwellers, removed Blood Chimeras, added Bone Scavengers, Bone Mimics, updated Rustling Stalkers, and Giant Rats, and added Rotting Hounds. So a lot more enemies there. Only like, what, one was removed. Ranged enemy behavior changes. Are they no longer going to laser me into, you know, the ground? Several ranged enemies now move more between attacking to make combat feel more dynamic. Hey, they're not actually gonna laser me anymore. Also makes these enemies less oppressive and robotic when fighting. This is good. Enemies include the Skulnar Mercenary, Imperial Scouts, Imperial Sentries, and Arbalists. Wengari Raiders, hell yeah, brother. Solar Auxiliaries. Osprix Light Mages, okay. Yeah, that's good. I hope they do like a lot less attacking. Ascendant Ember Mages, and Sapphire Nagasa. Other changes. All enemies have 2% more health and 1% more damage. Big buff there, but there's a lot of others. Increased enemy health and damage globally above level 60 by around 5% at level 80 and 25% level 100. The level 100 is going to be a bit harder. Yeah, that 2%, not much difference, right? But that 25%, that's something. Visual, sound, and UI. There's going to be a lot of stuff in here. I don't think we're going to go through all of it. Here's all the visuals of enemies that have changed. It's a decent amount. Not to mention all of the new ones they've added. So enemies should feel a lot more polished. The helm is on his Instagram. Ah, found you. Oh. Good catch. Here we go. Here we go. 23 minutes ago we dropped it. My gamer nerds, yet they made me an evil hat because I love dropping Flame Race, but want to free up some clicking time for the new Warlock spells coming on Wednesday. You didn't actually make a Flame Wraith thing, did you, David? Please tell me you didn't make a Flame Wraith thing. Spelled your name, my name correctly. Okay, what do we got here? Hard to see this. There we go, that's better. It's got armor, CDR, and minion cooldown recovery on the helmet. It looks sick, by the way. That thing looks insanely cool. Like super, super cool. +1 to summon Wraith. 47% increased minion move speed, +6 minion melee damage, and +12 minion spell damage. Casting Summon Wraith instead summons a Wraith Lord. The Wraith Lord scales with your Summon Wraith tree and summons other Wraiths for you while in combat. While at max race, the Wraith Lord casts necrotic beams and regularly consumes all your non-Wraith minions to empower itself, getting temporary maximum health equal to 10% of their maximum health and +10 spell damage for 10 seconds. Okay. There's a lot going on there. So you summon a Wraith Lord, which then summons other Wraiths. And then when it reaches max Wraiths, it starts consuming them to empower itself, giving itself 10 spell damage and 10% max health for 10 seconds. And it also starts casting some beams. I mean, I'm intrigued. David's made quite the thing here. It'd be a very different way to play it. How often is regularly? It's a good question. I would guess like every second, but it's just a guess. Gotta see it in action for sure. But I'm intrigued. This has potential. I am very much... I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there. The art looks amazing. Another super minion build? Yeah. Okay, other visual updates. When the Primalist transforms back into a human after being a werebear, Spriggan, or Swarmblade, now a puff of dust. Okay, I like that. It hands out necrotic beans. Oh, that's different than how I read it. That's a way nicer thing to do. I don't think it's gonna do much damage like that. I mean, necrotic beans are probably not. They're probably not good to eat. Actually, it might do some damage if you eat it. Added screen shake to most rogue abilities. I won't be checking that out. They're ultra aggressive on screen shake in this game, and they don't need to be. And we just turn it off. Questions? You update Spellblade Shattering from 1.0 to low life, or we use a vessel? We're gonna go low life with it. Updated character select screen. Updated background lighting. Added support to spin and zoom in out characters. That's cool. Updated all classes and character select with a new rig and proportions. Like it. Improve the visual orbiting of orbital spiral skills, including Shuriken, Devouring Orb, Hammer Throw, and Static Orb. That's good, because they can get a little weird. The beans explode would be pretty cool. But it's on the tier list. I don't think we've updated our tier list to 1.0 yet. It's still pre 1.0. Yeah, it'll come before release. It would have been out already, except actually the David Harbor thing, I believe, is why we're getting pushed back. We can't release our stuff yet. But we will as soon as we can. But you're a bit late. How do you feel about the Shadow Dagger changes? You can check out the top of the screen. And that will pretty much sum it up. I need the 1.0 version. Yeah, I'll have it soon. We'll have it up as soon as we can. No, it's okay. No, it's no problem. Where was I? Stash visual update, including new model animations and visual effects. Updated Void Yiki? Does anyone know what that is? What if your weapon of choice is a pitchfork? You could dual wield, or not dual wield, you could do it two-hander, I guess. Oh, it's a pet? Okay, okay. Several ailment visual effects are updated. New models for Primalist minion skills. Summon Stormcrow, Scorpion, Sabretooth, Raptor. That's nice. Conserve and strike it true. How long has that been there? Like an hour and a half, probably at least. SD dead. They fixed the hitbox issue with a lot of the rogue ranged abilities, like detonating arrows. I don't know. All right. Updated the visual effects for a large number of skills. Fire explosion visual effects that is used on explosion nodes on Smite, Forward Strike, Infernal Shade, Rive, and Enchant Weapon. Infernal Shade's explosion node now visually converts to blood if you take the blood conversion. That's nice. Hail of Arrows. New visual effects. We're gonna need more drink soon. Dark Quiver. No one will ever see that. Dive Bomb. Wait, Dive Bomb has new visual effects. It's a new skill. How does it have new effects? Summon Skeleton. Disintegrate. Range is increased by 20%. So I guess that's new visual effects, technically. Fireball, speed and duration. Rive, hitbox and visual effects. Erasing Strike. Tempest Strike. Well, Tempest Strike got a lot of stuff, yeah. Detonating Arrow. Acid Flask Pools. Small bug fix. Hungering Souls. Profane Veil. Bone Prison. So far, I haven't seen anything about the Bear Slam, I think, small ability, which is really bad. Summoned Revenant. Caltrops is new, so interesting. Hammer Throw. Javelin. Lethal Mirage. Smoke Bomb. Aerial Assault, again new. Avalanche, Summon Skeleton Archer, Runic Invocation, Lightning Blast, Spriggan Form, Forward Strike, Healing Hands, which is basically new. Marrow Shards, Wandering Spirits, Anomaly, Wolf, Howl Size, and Bone Curse all got something visual. Still a bit Whip. Which one's that? Oh, that one there. Aerial Assault. Huh. My starter is Shadow Dagger Falconer. When you get access to Falcons? Yeah, we believe it's at Chapter 9 because that's where the hub is. Cosmetics. Add a disclaimer that cosmetics cannot be equipped to offline characters. That's good, so you don't fool people. Performance and visual improvements to previous MTX items. Added several new pets. Guppy, the baby chrono worm. Phase, Sphinx. Twilight Fox, who's cool. Frosthorn, Owl. Seer's Orbs. Dire Guanas, and Bees. Wait, what? You have bees? Added 5 new armor sets. We know of 2 of these, right? Are these different? Argentum, Myrmidon, Crescent Sage, Crystal Weave Plate. I'm gonna have to get these, aren't I? Oh yeah, Fallen Rose. So two of these we know about, so there's 3 new ones. Added 5 new helmets. Same thing. So there's like 3 new sets that are being added. Added several new back slots. Void Gaze Mantle, Fire Warden's wings. They added wings, guys. Guys, they added wings. They did it. Game is complete. Classical music has evolved. This is classical now. Yeah, we're all just old, guys. This is now classical music. That's just how it is. Pay to win. Any notes for set changes yet? I haven't seen anything yet. Rhyme Mantle, Spring's Bounty, Autumnal Wrap, Midsummer's Dream, Mantle of the Prophecies, and Merchant. I only see one pair of wings in here, so that's the only one that matters. Added 3 new portals: Champion's Pass, Celestial Way, and Firefly's Refuge. Added 4 new weapons: Wormskill, Aegis, Time Guarding Catalyst, and Divine. Did we have weapon cosmetics yet? I don't think we did we? Those are new, right? Yeah, those are new. I added some Kickstarter Alpha and Base Border Pack rewards, Kickstarter backer portraits, Ancient Portal, and Odin's Blessing. That's nice. I think that's good for them. They deserve those for sure. All right, I need to get another drink real quick because my voice is not happy right now. That's better. Only one with actual weapons, Divine Fist Mace. The other was like color it or something. Biggest complaint is the tiny ass cursor. Yeah, people have asked about that. You can use YOLO mouse to circumvent it, basically. A little work on the tunes. What kind of work do you want? UI updates. Nearly all the user interface in the game has been updated with better visuals, improved legibility, more information for helpful, or improved information for clarity. Not all minor changes are listed. Classic rock or classical? This is classical. They're drinking before 4. Hope everything's all right. It's orange juice. This is classical. HUD added an experience panel that gives detailed information about your character's current level that can be accessed by hovering over the XP bar on the HUD or level display. What's the detailed information going to be? What is there to detail there? I'm curious. Orange juice plus? No plus. Nope, not a mimosa. Hope I have someone to drive for me. Yeah, totally. Add a level display below the experience bar on the HUD, so you can see it in like your front end display. That's good. Bottom of the screen HUD icon showing you have new passive points, skill points, unlock specialization slots, etc. Have effects for better visibility. Reaper form health material has been adjusted. Arena wave HUD visual update. In-game chat help improve layout and information. Localization. The stuff happened here. Better languages. Yay. XP and XP per hour. That would be interesting if they gave XP per hour. Yeah, no problem, memory. Menus. Added a loading message to region display upon login. Theme required error panel has been updated with more accurate and helpful information. Added credits, which can be found on the landing page. Escape menu is now shown on top of many panels that was beneath, allowing access to it in more states. Ballista leveling build? I don't believe so. I don't remember what the Falconer leveling build is going to be. Revise the wording to the support ticket form and fix some typos. Disabled gameplay zoom while support. Okay. Some of this stuff is like, I'm sure good if it applied to the thing you were doing, but most people it won't. Map and quest log has been redesigned to be full screen and only show the currently selected quest on click. This is the map. For better map visibility, graphics have been updated to better show towns, dungeons, campaign skips, and other notable locations. Quest tracker has been updated so that you can pin and unpin tracked quests. Main quest will always be tracked. That's nice. People are asking about at least, they're asking to remove quests, so at least this way you don't see them anymore. There's now an icon on the left of each quest denoting the campaign chapter the quest is located. That's nice. That's some good quality of life stuff. You gonna get him this time?
Nice.
Nice. You finally get rid of that quest. Quest markers have been redesigned to feature 3D icons above NPC heads and now better reflect the following states for main and side quests. Quest available, quest accepted, quest ready for turn-in. Squirrel. Quest tracker and minimap on the right side of the HUD have been visually updated. Reworked quest UI in campaign, dungeons, arena, and Monolith. Monolith has more tooltips to help you understand what you are doing. The center timeline node has been made visually more prominent to aid people finding it more easily. Panels. Nearly every modal panel in the game has been updated with new styling in the custom Last Epoch font. It's a pretty nice font too. I like it. Many panels have been updated with new effects to highlight actions or potential actions better, like unspent points, etc. Stash panel has been updated with smooth scroll for many tabs and visual improvements. I like smooth scroll. This is good. It's definitely good. You like it in lowercase, you don't like it in uppercase. Character sheet layout has been updated, and even more detailed character sheet is still planned for a future update. It's been planned for about 12 years now, I think. Hopefully someday it will actually happen. Game guide articles now have buttons to link those articles directly into chat, so you can more easily help your fellow travelers learn about Last Epoch. That's a really nice feature. Someone says, hey, how does, I don't know, experimental fixes work? And you can like link them a game guide article. Blessings panel design has been updated to reflect their tie to the Epoch artifact. Interesting. Choose a blessing panel from stabilizing a timeline has been redesigned and tells you how to unlock the 4th and 5th blessing options. Shader removal for inventory items for performance improvement. Social panel experience. The social panel has been improved. I rarely ever use this, but that's good that all these things are done for the friends that you pretend to have. It loads faster when you're pretending you have friends and you open it up, and that's all really good. Refer a friend. You can send invite codes now. You can only claim one person as person referred you. Each time you enter it, you'll receive one of 3 bee-themed cosmetic pet rewards. All right. Who am I referring? Who am I referring in chat? I need to refer 3 people for my bees. I've referred plenty of people. I deserve these.
Doing the bee dance.
You have many a friend.
Doing the bee dance. Doing the bee dance.
3 people need to refer that I led you to it. So I can get my bee stuff. I want my bee stuff, man. You has the game. I need some referrals.
Doing the bee dance. Doing the bee dance. Doing the bee dance.
I need my bee stuff, man. Bright updates. Class badges, we've seen those. They're nice. New keyboard and mouse icons. Quest-related sprites. They're all just like nice things that make it look better. You don't have the game? Well, if you get it, please refer me so I can get my bee stuff. When did he do that? That was for Halloween one year. Plan to buy tonight? Sweet. Yeah, I want my bee stuff. If you don't already have someone who's your friend who's referring you, and you're for yourself since you bought the game for 2 of your friends, you should be able to. I don't know if you can. Tooltips have also been updated. An estimated and DPS tooltip. That's good. Maybe people will be slightly less confused, thinking that they're getting a lot more clarity than they really are. Can we refer before the 21st? I don't think so. I think this is going to go through with a patch. Not happy with the nerf on squirrels? Why? It's still S tier. But if you just bought the game for other people, they should be referring you. No, I think what it does is like, I think there's like a, how does that work? Send your invite code to a friend. They can claim you as a person who referred you. I think you got to send your invite code to them. And then they can say it. So like we should all refer each other. Should do like just a circle referral thing. On your Falconer Shadow Dagger build, does the Umbral Explosion apply to Shadow Daggers? Yes. If this is mentioned, but will there be guilds, clans? Not at least at 1.0. Maybe later. We need more music. You guys didn't like the classical, huh? It was technically epic. I mean, it's technically not classical. But you would think epic would be classical, right? Let's see. That's not what I'm looking for. Baroque. You're Baroque. They just said that going to Mono's early level will be very, very hard. Have a chance to test it? A little. I mean, if it's hard, that's fun, right? I can't even find the genres anymore. Seriously, Epidemic Sound has some of the best music and some of the worst UI and like features. Okay, finally found it. What are we gonna listen to? How about some contemporary classical? Metallica. There's 12% better now than the field. They're more than that. They're still gonna lap the field. That mechanics normally work in the game. Sub skills on a skill also apply to stuff from the main skill. That's a very general statement that does not apply. In Shadow Dagger's case, any hit by Umbral Blades applies Shadow Daggers. That's usually true. That'd be different than saying everything in the tree accounts for the sub skill. On many sub skills it does. On some like Shadow Daggers it doesn't. I know that's confusing. I didn't design the game. Please don't shoot me. Some Mongolian throat singing metal. I don't think they have that. Early endgame in current state is a bit too easy. True. Hold Alt in the detonating node, it shows the sub skill. That's why you're confused. What sub skill does it show? Surprise S tier builds from reading the patch notes? No. Not really. Oh, blade explosion? Okay, yeah, that still applies it. Imagine that's a skill, Mongolian throat singing. I think that would get really annoying to play after a while. Especially if you had high, like, attack speed. Alright, where was I? Tooltips, tutorials, reduce tutorialization early zone. Thank God. Did you also give me an ability to, like, not have it happen after I've done it once? Removed, moved, in party tutorial, and skills tutorial. Move tutorial only triggers. Seeing silver 6 seconds spawn location. So I still have to see as every character, even though I've played 7,000 characters. Why? Why do I still have to do that? Other stuff's good, though. High tutorials, right? It's so annoying. Every time I make a new character, it's like, tutorial. Like, bro. I have more hours in this game than any of the developers do. Like, I know how to play it. For doing throat singing as a skill, you want a didgeridoo as a two-handed sword? Other. Gamepad main menu wheel updated to include access to more panels. Good. Most confirmed buttons can now be used by pressing enter. That's good. In towns, you'll see faction affiliation displayed above characters. That's kind of cool. You may trade with them if you're in line. Yeah, that makes sense. Disabled timer on death screen to avoid it appearing when not needing. Good. Needed. Loot filter added to bottom flyout menu and gamepad wheel menu. Updated damage number visuals based on gameplay elements. That's cool. Added a short loading screen and transition effect when entering Monolith echoes. Why? We don't need more stuff in the way. You're a boomer now, you may randomly forget. You're not wrong. 7,000 characters, half of them Shadow Blade Rogue. Only half? I actually thought it was higher than that. And then almost half of the other ones are Echo Void Knight Warpath setups or some sort of Warpath setup. Okay, sound stuff. Lots of sounds happened. There are many sounds that have happened now. Actually, not as many as I would have expected. But sounds did do a thing with enemies. And then there's some music too. 35 zones have gotten new music. Is that 35 new tracks? Or some zones got the same music? Skills. Have some new sound effects on some of these skills. Tempest Strike, of course, is one of them. Bone Curse. Multi-Strike has a new hit sound. Sounds. They're good. No new rogue voice. I like Rogue's voice. Soul Cage beam sound got buffed twice. Nice. They fixed the broken textures. I haven't seen anything in here, but we haven't gotten to bugs, and I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. Because bugs is probably gonna be about 15 pages. Absolute bangers for ye old gamers. Hell yeah. Sound and music changes on your quiz as well? Yes. Everything in here is on the quiz. Including, like, when there are typos, you need to know about that. You need to know when there's a typo. Voice acting, Acolyte, Admiral Harton, Imperial enemies, Ungari enemies, Void cultists, Drown Husk. I can't wait for all of these enemies to just constantly yell at me now. It's gonna be fun. Takes to hold the key to perform movement skill. I'm not sure. You want the harbor thing, right? Looks cool. How's the new Acolyte voice? I don't remember. I don't know if it was in when I tested it. Other replaced old portal sound that was on Monolith portals. The new town portal sound. Given all player summons hit sound receivers that are set to players so they emit quieter hit sounds like a player. That's good. Here's volume of rain in the Dreadnought deck global ambience. Adjusted volume and mix for all MTX portals and pets. Adjusted VFX and timings of many skills. Why is it under sound? Audio device is now selectable in the sound settings panel. That's nice. If it was giving you the wrong one. Bug fixes. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh lord. Oh lord. It's still going. Oh Jesus. Read them. I can't be here all night. I did play music. Where did it go? It is playing. Okay, it's just really, really low. They aren't hiding anything? No, they're definitely not. They got like, hey guys, look at all the bugs we fixed. Now, what's not listed here is all the bugs they introduced from all the bugs they fixed. To be fair to them, though, it will be a lot less than before because they've had people testing this for months. We've been playing a bugged game? I know, surprising, but yes. Let's see. Let's look for like the highlights. Fix an overarching problem with how skills are used in online play, which should address a number of bugs. Fix players getting stuck in place after using a skill they didn't meet requirements for. Yes, that was one I was running into. Fix players casting a skill and doing nothing for a skill they didn't meet requirements for. Did that too. Fix some behaviors with channeling skills. Not that one. Maybe. Maybe with Warpath. Let's see. Marked for death is applying minus 50% resistance instead of listed 25%. Guys, you were getting wrecked harder from marked for death than you realized. Fixed a bug where some skills which can be turned into traversal skills allows you to bypass walls normal traversal skills won't. That is not a bug fix. That is a nerf to the dungeons. That is what that is. That is a nerf to the dungeons. Big Sag. The Runemaster bug? We'll get there. Fixed a bug where sources of elemental pen, such as runic invocations, provided 7 times more pen than intended. That's the one you were talking about, yeah? 7 times more pen. That's a lot of penetrating. I'm going to switch to my normal music. This isn't very good. That's not my normal music, but we'll take it.
Nice.
Zakar has not been here like all day. Like he's not said fuck you to anybody. At least number 6 in top sellers. We got 5 more to go. We got to get there. Wait, how many people are playing the game right now? So no, you can't shift through walls anymore. So that's why I said that's not actually a bug fix. That is a nerf to 27.6 thousand. Nice. As a nerf to dungeons. The dungeons feel worse now. 20,000 viewers. Wow. That is crazy. People really like patch notes. Acolyte skill bug fixes. Is there anything in here that I'm going to know about? Did I place a little Acolyte? Anything in here that jumped out to anybody who was jumping ahead? Hey, what's up, Flint? Is my music just not anymore? Is it just done? There we go. No more infinite damage Infernal Shade. Well, that's a good one, yeah? Is it this one? Both physical and fire attacks will blood shake, but it will not. No. Which one is that? Love to see bear catching strays. Yeah, with that like 1 second cooldown thing on the skill. I mean, you know, it was C tier. We can't have that. Oh, somewhere else? Okay. It wasn't a bug. Okay. Transplant bug with Reaper form. Maybe that got fixed. The general stuck in place. Oh, maybe, yeah. Bleed Bear is just bad now. I mean, we all knew that of the minions, the non-wolf squirrel primalist beastmasters were by far the most powerful, right? Like, everyone's running around with raptor, or with bear, or with scorpion, or with kitty cat. And like, it's just broken at quadruple S, so it had to be nerfed. No one plays anything else. Like Flame Wraith's F tier, all the other stuff that had to be nerfed because it was the most powerful, right? You like the text above? Shadow Falconer should be fairly strong. Yes. Yes, it will be. All right. I don't think there's too much in here, yeah? Oh, wait. This one's big. This one's huge. Fixed a bug where volatile zombies, Grand Sacrifice, and Effigy of Combustion could trigger while on negative mana, which is how they were pushing this to like 2,000-3,000 waves. How much longer till Falcon video? I don't know. It's not up to me. It'll be sometime after I stop streaming. So later this evening, probably. What wolves needed was to make their howl multiplicative to keep up with other companions. Yes. That was important. A Link to Harbor is unique. I had it up, and I think I got it. Yeah, I do still have it up. Like my LA University series? Thank you, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Here, this is just Harbor's Instagram, so it's like the first thing he's got on there. This is big, this is good. Black Hole fixed a bug where Black Hole with Cascade, Fracture, and Armageddon could indefinitely attempt to consume mana to cast meteors after it ended. Huh. What's Age of Vengeance again? The Frost Claw. I think I know which one that is, so I'm gonna double check. Oh yeah, this is Glacier Area for Ice Spiral and Glacier Cold Pen for Ice Spiral and Snap Freeze Duration and Snap Freeze Area for Ice Spiral. Reach active one, Glacier gains increased area, Cold Pen, Snap Freeze, okay. That seems powerful. The stun avoidance stuff looks nice. Didn't feel nice in testing. It felt the same to me. Maybe I just hate stuns that much. Felt like there was practically no change. I got stunned slightly less. Yeah, I didn't think it'd make any difference. I think they did pretty much the opposite of what people were asking them to do. Well, not the opposite, but people asked them to make it so that only like big telegraphed attacks would stun. And they didn't do that at all. Meteor, no big deal there. Rune Bolt. Forget your combo, that's not good. Skill issue? I mean, there's some of that in there too. Runic Invocation, anything in here? Some of them didn't apply ailments in their first hit. Unbridled didn't gain bonus damage per rune consumed. Could fail the cast when interlude or prologue were allocated. I think some people were running into that and talking about that a few days ago. Testing out the hybrid stun of avoidance fixes. Yeah, let me know if it feels good to you, because I'm not convinced it's gonna make much of any difference. Not to mention you don't get those till later, and the biggest offender of like making stun feel bad is the early game, when you would not get that anyway. I still think the early game feels like shit. Adding parry will make things a little muddled down with defenses. Do you think it'll be used in specific builds to where it won't make a big difference having to account for it? My prediction is that parry at 1.0 will make exactly 0% difference, and no one will take it. But hopefully they have plans for it in the future. Okay, what do we got for Primalist bug fixes? Cold Stone Elementals and Avalanche wasn't receiving attribute scaling. Flipping that and saying it to Parry. Why is he saying it's good? Oh, I see. Because it's Parry. Yeah. Gotcha. Make things simple for you? Yeah, it's not going to make any difference. I really don't think so. Fury Leap. Not much there. Not much there. Not much Maelstrom. Nothing. It's just tooltip bugs and shit. Spriggan form. Spirit Thorns visuals, nothing. There were apparently some reset issues and cooldown with Spriggan form, so only Quiet for me knew that. Summon Thorn Totem. Spelling errors, yeah, okay. Swipe. Not much. Upheaval. Fixed upheaval's damage being trash. Oh, no, that's not what it said. Nothing. Warcry. Nothing. Flurry and detonating arrow. Fixed a bug where multiple skills such as flurry or detonating arrow would miss a target that should. Okay, this is potentially big, because those were missing a lot. Only because they decided they had to force us to do auto target. But this is fixed. That'll be great. Acid flask. Nothing. Dancing strike. Nothing. Puncture. Nothing. Shurikens. Not really. I did miss nearby targets as well, so I guess that's something, yeah. Reason swap Vessel with low life, because it's better. Devouring Orb. Nothing. Void Beams. Nothing. Forge Strike. Nothing. Holy Aura. These are all just clarifications on the tooltips. Which I guess you could look at this as, that means there wasn't much to fix, so that's nice. Yeah, yeah. Pretty nice. How heavy is a Shadow Dagger nerf? Not very. What's up, Lancers? They're still misbuilding armor? That's forever. The forever thing, I think, because there's too many people that are like from countries that and that dev team that do that. Finished reviewing. Your guess 1.0 is a shitstorm of fun and entertainment as predicted. That's what we want, right? Shitstorms of fun and entertainment. Yep, still my starter. Make the text yellow. It's not a bad idea. Yeah, maybe it's the text color is wrong. Everyone, Naked loves yellow, so we're gonna do that. There. Is that better? Oops. Why are you moving that? I moved it. Oh my god. There. Oh my god. Okay, it's just staying where it is. Would it mind if they're consistent? Yeah, they just like change it all the time. It's crazy. Armor's Canadian spelling because Mike's from Canada. It's a bunch of people on that team, I think, that use the U. Okay, nothing there. Nothing there. There's fixed spellings of armor. It's funny that they misspelled it in the skill that has it in the name. They were spelling it differently inside the skill tree. The proper English spelling. The proper English is American English. Everyone knows that, Mr. Flibble. Want to play Dragon Song or Reign of Winter 0.9, but they just felt so much worse than Shadow Dagger at everything. Shadow Dagger is really strong. I mean, Dragon Song is really fun. I was playing that for a few days. But Shadow Dagger is definitely faster. The alien technology? Which one? Oh, the leaderboards? Kiwis conditioned you to use armor with the U, even though you're American. They've converted you, huh? Yeah, this is all like tooltip fixes and stuff, which is great, but there's not really changing much for us. Shadow Daggers kills every other build for you. Not Shadow Dagger's fault, all the other ones suck, man. Dash tabs are alien tech, true. We don't have a command for the patch notes, do we? Rebuke. Oh, here's one. Fix the increased cooldown recovery speed for Mystic Aegis being multiplicative without the modifiers. Okay, that's meaningful. Thank you, Gwildar. Plus from Protective Legacy always had a base duration of 2 seconds instead of being based on channel duration. Okay, there's actually changes there. Link to my Falconer Shadow Dagger build for launch somewhere? Not yet. It'll be up probably this evening. We've been asked to hold off on stuff by EHG. Nothing there on Ring of Shields. Issues with old created filters new cycle? No, they'll probably just need to be updated with like the affixes or the new bases. The bases will probably be a little weird. Rive. Tooltip stuff. Tooltip stuff. Sigils. Tooltip stuff. Tooltip. Tooltip. Same. Tooltip descriptions. Big spellings of armor again. Yeah, the positive takeaway from this, and it's a very positive one, is that they just didn't have a lot of bugs to fix in these skills. Or they didn't do them, but I'm pretty sure they're actually like in a pretty good state. Hoping more help for Shaman and Forge Guard. Yeah. I mean, Forge Guard does have a B tier build in our tier list. So it's good, right? Someone in another chat got super mad because they thought Shadow Daggers was useless now. You tried to save him, but he started typing too fast. You tried. Yeah, people are going crazy about Shadow Daggers. They think it's so busted. I'm going to get so... I guarantee you, this is what's going to happen, guys. You know, in here, I can just, like, tell people to come in. No, it's great. My YouTube build guides on that are going to be full of people telling me that I'm an idiot because it got nerfed, and I should have waited to put these out until I knew, and it's going to... I guarantee it's going to be full of that stuff. Yeah, exactly. Why did you make this? Shadow Dagger's dead. What are you doing? And I'll just have to link them to the actual tier list. Or maybe I should do that. You know, I need to pin that. I need to pin in there. It's not dead. Here's the tier list. Please read. In patch 1.1, they'll go to armor with the U everywhere. That'd be nice. A lot in chat shit talking as well. Yeah, I mean, there's already been people coming in being Shadow Dagger's dead. They're not shit talking, but they're getting told it's dead because they read that or someone read it to them. Will 1.0 fix marksman shots not registering? Apparently, yes. There is something in here that says it does. Nothing here. System bug fixes. Arena. No one's gonna play that. Controller. Lots of controller stuff. I just don't know a lot about it. things as far as like bugs and stuff. Grovsol, thank you for the sub, much appreciated. Dungeons. Not a whole lot here. Fixed a bug that caused the 3 chests in the Sanctum archive to not drop any loot. In online, okay. Monolith. Fixed damage value on damage and crit chance Monolith mod. Fixed a bug where players couldn't enter an echo if the host leaves it first. The bug where portaling notification would remain on screen after portaling and echoes. It did. Fixed a bug where all Monolith waypoints were displayed level 25. They were. Fixed a bug where a user could no longer open menus via hotkeys after a different user opened a Monolith echo. Oof. Finished your first run through the campaign. Awesome, dude. Glad you enjoyed the content. Fixed a bug where echoes would fail to load and display already in progress after finishing a quest echo. Fixed a bug where echoes would appear to load without a floor. Fixed a bug where the reward, rock, and chest and echo of a world scale their rarity based on the active echo instead of the echo that was just completed to get those rewards. The bug where using a return portal from echo of a world, you're back in your last echo. I don't remember a lot of these. Where are the full skill trees? I don't think they add those to the patch notes. What's up, Boiler? What mastery should you start? What do you normally play? Like, obviously you play Druid on D4. But, like, what's your go-to style? Takeaway from low life is that it'll be a bit harder to stack when you need. Probably still be the meta. I would say the takeaway is you stack almost all of it from intelligence or strength and GG. GG no re. Ranged casters. You're probably looking at Rune Master. Or Warlock would be fun. You like dots? Very flashy. No problem, Spaghetti. You trigger to pull off with the Cleaver Solution LP change? Not really. The LP stuff on Cleaver Solution doesn't affect your ability to stack low life. It will just take a bit of damage away. If instead of like having a 2 LP, you got a 1 LP, so you only get crit multi, not crit multi, and like added damage or something like that. Thoughts on Thonic, or lots of Thonic fissures and Aeos bolts, yeah. Could be a video if you liked X and D4, try these builds in LA. That would be a good video. You should have specified what you meant a little better by that. What was that in reference to? Oh yeah, the strength stacking stuff. Warlock's new? It's brand new. Brand new, strong, and pretty. We should check the online gameplay stuff. Oh my god, there's a lot of them. See if there's anything in here that might clearly make a difference. Yeah, you might lose a bit of damage with the LP changes to low life, or to not to low, to Cleaver Solution, but it shouldn't be nearly enough to make much of a difference. Falconer or Blade Dancer for Shadow Daggers? Either. They're both really good. They're both in our tier list going to be in the same exact spot. It doesn't make them identical, but they're so close in pretty much every metric that we're going to put them pretty much... They're in the same tier for every spot. So really it comes down to which one you think looks cooler or will be more fun to play. A glizzy? What the... I'm not following that rabbit hole. Address multiple issues that could cause critical matchmaking failures that result in errors such as infinite loading screens, disconnects, and inability to log in. Good that that's getting fixed. Do we know how many gigabytes the patch will be? Typically they've been around 15 or so, but this one's a really big one, so hard to say. Server latency is now accurately reflected on login by pinging available servers. That's good. Didn't know it wasn't before. I'm just trying to see how to pronounce your name. Attila de Hun. Okay, I got it. Thank you so much for the sub. Much appreciated. Acolytes have better alternative builds to Shadow Daggers? No. They're both really good. You can play either. I actually think I right now I think the Blade Dancer is actually still probably a bit faster. But they're both fast. Fixed a number of bugs that cause infinite loading screens for online and offline mono. Fix for bug that caused crash login disconnects for stashes with over 4,000 items. All right, which you hoarders found this one? Oh, non-Shadow Daggers, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Falconer's got a lot better non-Shadow Dagger setups than Blade Dancer. Blade Dancer's really pigeonholed right now, and it sucks. How many seasons until D4 stash can have over 4,000 items? I don't think there are enough seasons in the lifetime of the universe to get that high. Fixed problem with many different skills, so using them should feel more responsive and align better with hit timings. Wait, no, actually, that's not true. I'm sorry, Mr. Flibble. They already are at that. It's just that it's everyone else's stashes that you're also using at the same time, and so you actually have over 4,000 items at all times. So actually, they're really optimized. You just found out about the transfer crafting items button? Oh no. Really? Yesterday? Another one. Another one falls. Another one bamboozled by the transfer crafting button that shouldn't exist. You're installing? Hell yeah, brother. Oh, you're kidding. Oh, thank God. I was going to say, you've been around a bit. I didn't want to, like, pick on you too hard, but... I was like, holy shit, man. Okay, anyway. I have the laylock. Yeah, I do. That's on there. Okay, good. Where were we? Cause enemies or players being visible. That's bad. Fix problems with many different skills. Using them should feel more responsive and align better with hit timings. I like that. These enemies in Arena Monolith not properly animating after spawning. That one's a funny one, though. Overhauled the social system. Okay, don't really care too much about the social system because I have no friends. Addressed a number of problems that were specific to players portaling to each other. Fixed a number of bugs that caused animations to play at a different time than the attack for a number of skills such as Smelter's Wrath. Could that potentially be the fix that we're looking for the Werebear? You like the ice skating enemies? I did too. They were funny. Fix some cases where using movement skills result in rubber banding effects. That's also good. Fix bugs that cause players to see themselves or other players with no equipment. Aw, kind of like seeing naked people. Fix a bug that allowed new players being able to connect to a server that's shutting down. Surprise! Fixed a bug with a chest not being clickable and some of the animations going missing. Someone say Werebear? Oh yeah, dude. There's a Werebear. There's a Werebear in Stronk. These aren't the fixes you're looking for. There's no werewolf though. Kind of sad, but there is a werebug. If you're looking for that. It's a bug that caused infinite loading by rapidly clicking during the loading screen of a transition. Fixed a bug with rejecting party invites from someone on the same scene. Triggers the party rejection notification for everyone on the scene. It's an issue where quest deck objectives were breaking, not displaying. Correctly party fixed an issue where questless objectives would disappear when triggering to Echo World. While your party members are still in Echo. You guys gotta stop playing in parties so much. You keep breaking the game. Fixed a bug where players become invisible while playing in a party. It's always you partiers. Stop partying so much, and then things don't break. Like you don't clean up after yourselves. You break things. The vase is on the floor. It's not good. Fixed a bug where using player portal back to town doesn't put you near your portal. Fixed online character list regeneration after deleting an offline character. Fixed a bug causing top left party frames UI to not update on disband. The bug that caused a minimap quest pings not to function. Fixed a bug that caused a portal to open immediately upon joining a party in enough time. Welcome back, Mariano. Rip staying online tomorrow? Wait, what? What do you mean? Oh, you won't be online, no. But you can log in and then be offline. Your first playthrough, you realize you did a whole chapter without a weapon. It was in the forge the whole time, but only realized that after buying a new one and try to craft on it, you hope they will add items returning to inventory to closing the forge. I've definitely never done that. Just like anything else, I've never like made any mistakes in this game, so I didn't make that one either. Do you think that we will be able to have our own bases? Oh, like a place to live? Not anytime soon. They really seem to want us to be in town and show off our cosmetics. I think it's also a server load issue for them. Quest bug fix. We're gonna skip that. I'm sure it's good, but we're gonna skip it. Same with localization. Same with sound. Yeah, I'm sure these are great, but I don't think we need to know about every one of them. Holy shit, there's a lot of sound fixes. User interface. I don't think there's gonna be too much in here either that we care about, or visuals. Yeah. See, screen shake on hit, not working. Don't care. Don't care. Animation timings, though, I do care about. And jittering skill projectiles. This one's a big one. Fixed a bug where players and minions can push larger enemies and bosses. Let's see if the 5th fix of this is the charm. Already asked, but are you guys updating the planner today? I don't know. Legitimately. I don't know if it's ready or not. We're gonna do updates. I don't know if the planner's getting there or not. We're not over from patch notes, no. That's why we're still online. Been 4 hours, man. Technically about 3.5. We are close to the end, though. We are very close to the end. Emperor standing strong. Yeah, we'll see how that plays out as far as the pushing things. Oh, invisible boss skills attacks. I wonder if that's why I was taking damage sometimes yesterday when I didn't know why. Issues which could cause enemies to have missing or broken textures. There you go. There's the fix for that one. Someone's asking about that. I don't remember it being enemies, though. It was like other places in the world. Nothing else much in there. When did classical music goes hard? We actually did change. We did change from that playlist that was technically called Epoch into a regular one. Still probably classical at this point, though. Items. Fixed a bug where the self-inflicted bleeds from bleeding heart received penetration from zone level. So this was actually stronger than expected. So this is a buff. If you want to use this like as, if you want to use this for spells, now you can. Potentially. You fix this from death rattle stacking. Interesting. Death rattle got nerfed hard, man. A bug that would cause bosses who were teleporting to drop double the loot. Didn't know about that. One of the requirements for adding a tier of a crafting experimental fix. Must have a tier 7 prefix is not working. Wait. Oh, I see. So this is with like you can craft an experimental fix on an item with one of the crafting materials that they drop. And it has certain conditions to add a certain number of fixes. Like it's basically something that if you figure out the formula you can do consistently. Apparently one of them wasn't working. Yeah, research. We were getting less. Got some nerf to damage. Wait, what? Oh, Hydrahedron. Yeah, Hydrahedron is still fine. It did get nerfed. But it's still fine because it has so much damage. Rock Shadowdagger Falconer, me too. The combined affix tiers used for deciding which experimental glove affixes to add use the internal 0 to 6 tiers rather than displayed 1 to 7, making it less intuitive, causing tier 1 affixes to have no effect on it. Okay, so these are both buffs to that. That's good. Fix the drop rate being lower than intended. I wonder if this will actually make any difference to using that thing. It's the insight, isn't it? Fix being able to get shards of experimental fixes, which cannot normally exist and display incorrectly by using removal. Okay. Fix a bug where Paranoia Helmet Unique won't allow using lunge freely and online, which makes it useless. Fix the death screen always saying that Calamity killed you if you had it equipped. That's great. The Shadow Dagger topic. You like that? Zones. Probably not much here. Yeah, not really much we have to worry about. We actually made it through. We actually got through it all. Maybe your first death wasn't a calamity? It probably wasn't. I just told you that.